Yo, what's good, y'all? Welcome this week's episode of Talks with TVBOO. Welcome this week's episode of the podcast. Hope you're all having a great week, and I appreciate y'all being here, man. I really do, because we got an amazing guest for y'all today. Behind the scenes type of conversation. I know a lot of y'all enjoy that. Before I introduce this week's guest, I just got to go ahead and tell y'all my new song, Drop That, with LS Dream and Al Capone, is out now on Wakan. This is the first single off my upcoming album, and damn, it's one of my favorite songs I've been a part of to date. You know, with this upcoming album, I really got to work with all the artists that I wanted to work with, and just to make the biggest and best songs I could. And so this is like a good a little pre-nut to the album. And I appreciate everybody who's already checked it out, and I appreciate all the kind words on it already. But my guest this week is a man who is just a grinder, dude. You know, and I'm not talking about the app. I'm talking about just, work ethic. You know, he is a stage manager for many festivals across the globe. He is a talent buyer and promoter. He's actually one of the bigger ones in the Midwest. He's probably like the main guy that does the shows in the Kansas City scene, and helps out with an Iowa and also Nebraska. He owns a production company as well. Just a man who has just done every type of job that you can imagine in the music industry, and he's made a successful career out of it while also being a fucking awesome guy that people love to work with, myself included. I love working with this guy. I have a lot of people ask me all the time or talk to me who are like, man, I would just love to get in the music industry somehow and, have it be a career. Well, this guy's been there and done that, and he's still being there and doing it. And, man, super awesome guy, amazing conversation, so much insider stuff that we haven't gone over before on this podcast, and I hope y'all enjoy it. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Otter. Cheers our non-alcoholic beverages today.
Love it.
Hell yeah, dude. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm great. Great.
Yeah, dude.
Good flight, everything out, went smooth, so.
Hell yeah, dude. You seem tired, man.
Man, I've been on it for the last month and a half, 2 months straight.
Yeah?
So.
Well, for the people who don't know who you are or what you do, explain to the people who you are and what you do.
I started a production company, High Tech Productions, based out of Kansas City. Actively, we throw shows in 3 states regularly year-round, about 150 to 200 shows a year, ranging from 250 capacity venues up to 17,000 capacity rooms. Partnered with multiple festivals over the years. Now, through all of that, I stage manage multiple festivals. This year I'll be stage managing 11 national festival stages, production managing something like 7 or 8 national festival stages. Then on top of that, we started a artist management company at one point called Level Management, who, a lot of your friends were on for a while. Janston and all of DMVU and all the homies. So, kept it going there, and just been doing this for 15 years as my own company and throwing parties for 20 years or so now. So
all right, so production company, stage managing, promotions, artist management. What else was I missing on that list?
Also founded Elevated Life with Dan Green, the hydration backpack company for festival backpacks. And kind of have a side project that's a cell phone buy and sell hustle. I have a couple other knick-knack projects that I start and do there.
So it's a busy guy.
Yeah.
Busy guy.
Yeah.
Out of all those things, which one's the hardest, dude?
Hands down, throwing concerts and being consistent, keeping up with the current demands, different sounds, genres, being able to produce events that are unique. luckily I've got a great team that we've developed behind me and an amazing investment team as well. Being able to, stand up and go against AEG and do different things and partner with brands like Breakaway, and it's just being fresh and relevant, as a producer.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, you said something there that you're like competing with AEG.
Oh man, it's a thing for us.
Yeah,
they come into every big market and starting to come into a lot of the regional smaller markets around, and we developed Kansas City market years ago, and in doing that, shortly after they moved into the market and started throwing massives, and I'm stoked for it. It helped develop our market, but it made things a lot more challenging for a lot of us in many ways. So
how cutthroat is it in that business? A lot of people don't know about this shit.
It's real cutthroat at times. I pretty much brought Zed's Dead to the table for the first viewing with AEG ever in a meeting years ago, and it pretty much got brought up to the table, hey, we can partner on the show. At that point, I saw the dollar amount for partnering on a massive for one of the first big events that they brought to Kansas City. And that event I couldn't afford at the time, obviously. And so I had to partner out, and I got cut down to 75 cents a head per person that came in the door, and didn't get to have working through in relationships with the artists, therefore in the market, since they established development of relationship. So, and in EDM and a lot of other genres nowadays, money talks. So it becomes a outline of when we're buying a majority of your city's tours nationally, we have more buying power than you do, vice versa. And that's a thing that, you're not even in the loop of as a beginning talent buyer, essentially, unless you're coming in the door with a large company.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'd imagine, since you have like a hold on markets in like 3 different states, you said, might be easier compared to like somebody else, say like in Connecticut or something that just has the one market, and then AEG comes in, and like you can offer like a 3-day run or something like that, and it's like consistent with the same guy who they know they work with. And whereas like somebody else is like, oh, AEG's just going to throw some fucking money at them.
Yeah, and it really helps. I essentially call it a big puzzle, and part of my puzzle that was becoming a stage manager in festivals and doing shows with all of you guys and other artists and the genres that I like and the people that I've developed, learning who they are, type of people they are, that I've essentially considered my friends after 15 years of doing this. And being on stages with the guys like you, 10, 15 times a year sometimes.
Yep.
I've wanted to tour as a young guy, and I wanted to be consistently out there seeing the artist on tour and being out there like they were, but I'm not musically inclined in that manner. So I had to find my own grind and find a way to do it. And I think the puzzle really came together when I started stage managing more, developing more relationships through people that were side stage, backstage, on stage, production, people that were agent management, audio, lighting, etc., and able to start putting that down in emails more with our team, and just having our name on something now, and people see me at all over the country. It's things, it stands up and it does a thing for us, and it helps support that fight. So
yeah, in the beginning, so I know you very well, and every time I've been around you, you're super professional, also very caring, and you're just a fucking cool guy to be around.
I appreciate it.
You got it going on, dude. Like, anytime it's like Chris Otter's show, I'm like, sweet, dude. Can't wait to see Ott. You know what I'm saying? Can't wait to see his ass. But I know that took a lot of time to even just get to the point. Well, you said like meeting people and gaining relationships or trust or whatever, because, and don't take offense to this, because like, I love you, and I know you're a professional ass guy. How hard was it to convince people in the beginning? Because you don't look like a guy who's like trying to do all this stuff. You look like a guy who's like, maybe in the yard with a full moon charging his crystals. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I've been stage managing since 2012 at national festivals.
Yeah.
Throughout the year for my company, I try to stage manage as many events as I can throughout the year for us as well while I'm in town. That said, I'm on stage 250 times plus a year easily. I've been doing it at that rate for 7 to 10 years. It's been pretty competitive, man.
Yeah.
It's hard to find consistent gigs. It's hard to be able to go out there and just be able to stay on top of it. And it's been a find people and meet relationship outline thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like a lot of like the music industry, they even say it's not what you do, it's who you know type of shit. And it's like that kind of does go into it a lot. You know what I mean? Because it's like, would you rather work with this person? Maybe it's like, all right, there's you, and then there's like some dude in a nice suit, but they know you and they trust you. They know you. They're gonna work with you.
Yeah.
Well,
and you and I have had this talk before as well as others. I think a lot of us in the festival culture, especially in the bass circuit, they see me around regularly, say the same things about me as a stage manager out there at festival culture. I'm still getting the 5, 10, 15,000 person stages.
mm-hmm.
I'd love to be doing the larger ones. I'd love to be getting the corporate look. My hair, my look, my vibe, the smoking, everything on top of it, I think holds that back maybe. But also I know there's people that have been doing this for years longer than me that come out of theater training that aren't organic. I come from the underground breaking and entry show days, and that's kind of how I developed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these other people come from trained corporation outlines. So it's been a fight.
And that shit's fucking lame in music.
Yeah.
It's fucking lame.
I mean, we're at the point where people can have face tattoos all over and be making tens of millions of dollars. Why aren't production managers, stage managers, and other people able to do certain things as long as they're walking with a national standard and in the proper manner as they go day to day in their job outlines?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, I fucking vibe with you on that shit. Like, I fucking hate it whenever someone will look at you or judge them or look at me and judge them just on that. Fucking this bullshit, dude.
I mean, I've said to you for years, when we go noodling, brother.
Yeah, hell yeah. We call it mud fishing back in Mississippi, man.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute. People were like, noodling. I'm like, what the fuck is noodling, dude? No, they called it mud fishing.
I'm about it.
Hell yeah.
Never done it, but you, Brock, and I, one of these times, it's going to happen.
Hell yeah, man. That'd be fun. I like to see Brock's ass do it, dude.
I've been asking him for years, and it was a no. And finally, recently, I got I might do it. So we're getting close.
Yeah, dude. He's got his little fucking redneck playground now with his new property, dude.
I think that's what changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that redneck playground, dude.
Yep.
Just fucking hillbilly paradise, man.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. He deserves it. He's been on the grind for years. And
hell yeah.
That's one of my favorite things is, as a promoter side of things, is coming up and finding these people that I see on the stage management development side that I enjoy sets and grabbing these developing acts, getting them in the 250 cap rooms and really trying to push them further into their careers and growing with them.
Yeah.
And just developing a relationship with my company, myself, our communities around, and as well as, developing a friendship with the artist.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, it's no different than the consumers want to be friends and see who you are and have conversations with people. It's same thing for my outline,
Mm-hmm.
I've been a fan of electronic music since I was 14.
Yeah, and you will come and kick it too, man. If it's your show, you're fucking usually kicking it.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to go out, and even when I get off tour, the first thing I'll do is I'll pop into another promoter's show in town, no problem, and jump 2 or 3 shows a night if I have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a thing to do, and I enjoy it, being whether there's 50 people in the room or 5,000 people in a room. It's part of being a community.
Mm-hmm. I mean, from like my perspective as an artist, it's fucking fun when you go into a town and you like love the promoter. It's like you fucking Waylon Clark over there in fucking OKC, man. Like, whenever I'm in those cities, I'm like, oh hell yeah, man. Fucking Chris, I get to see Chris, get to see Waybay. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Waylon.
I love what he's been doing down there too.
Oh, he's a man,
really
dude.
developing that market and bringing a lot of big names to not only play down there, but live down there and be a part of the community. It's great.
I mean, Kansas City's been fucking killing it. I mean, you've developed that scene. Like, go into that a little bit more, what it takes to develop a scene, because I got a taste of that on a small scale with throwing shows in Mississippi. And that was just like on a 2-year scale, very small. But you've been doing it there for a while to where you're, booking. I mean, what was that show I did with you? It was me and the Floozies.
Yeah.
And that was a fucking massive crowd. Then we did like a couple months, like the Miramar.
Yeah, we did like 2,800 people, I think, at that Floozy show.
Yeah,
It
like
was outdoor venue.
Mm-hmm, it's a super sick show, but like you can't just go and do something like that in any market. You got to actually develop the market, get people into it, figure out how to get people out, man. Go into that a little bit more. What all goes into developing a market?
Man, it's started from the ground up, really grinding, trying to go with, what the demands are of other people and not just your own taste. I learned that really hard back in the day, got super in the negative. Finally got out, found a really solid investor who had the same outline of business plan essentially that I had. And they kind of rolled with the dice and understood that, we're going to bring kids to venues. Kids are going to develop at venues. When they get older in the community, they're going to want to start going to these venues, whether they enjoy electronic music or not at that point. We want them to keep coming to those specific venues, and it's from there, it's the same thing. Like, you want kids to not only go to your shows, but like I said, when AEG came in through the first massive in Kansas City, as a young promoter, I was like, man, this sucks. Like, these guys are coming in, they got millions of dollars, and I'm little old guy throwing $5,000 and $7,000 shows with single headliners. And back in the day, you could do that. Nowadays, to throw a single headliner show for a $1,500 act in some markets is $7,500, $8,000, $9,000 or more dollars. And to be able to do that, you just got to be able to team up with a good network of people, keep it going, be at everybody's shows that you can in the community, and go support everybody around. Find out who your local artists are. Put as many of them on. Get as much, outline and I would say differences of artists and people that you can on stage, reaching in and collabing with other production companies in your region, in your market. And doing that as often as you can, even if you're the team that's paying for the majority or all of the show. It's just bringing other people up around you and making sure that they're fed too, and trying to keep that outline around and just understanding like, hey, this is our network, this is our team, and work within that to develop it. So, and it takes years.
Yeah, it takes years to get them ready to go into the venue. In a weird way, it's good grooming.
Yeah.
It's
In a weird way.
In a weird way, and it's a bad word, but we're grooming them to go to the shows.
I mean,
Positive grooming.
Positive grooming.
I've always said, and a lot of markets will fight back against, hey, we want 21 plus shows only. And as a promoter, I've always put back, I wanted 16 and 18 plus shows. And we wanted to do that because typically, as a music listener, when you're younger, you start to learn your taste that you listen to more as an adult. And by the time I'm 18, 19, 20, I've been fed from all my friends, my peers, everyone around, the concerts I've been to, what I've been influenced from my parents at a young age, what my taste now has become. And if we as promoters are not accessing people and getting music out to them when, hey, you can go to the Sprint Center in Kansas City, which is a 9,000 cap indoor arena, and you can go with your parents and go see any hip hop show in town that you want to go see for a hip hop show. Why isn't it the same at certain outlines of it in ours? I understand that we have a different demographic, so there's that age range limitation that we put on our shows, like said, but we've got to get these people into our style of music, into our community, into our interest, into the things that we want to do, the way that we see the world now, and by the time they're 21, most of the time these people are hooked.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw club shows. I'm trying to throw what we call hard ticket shows, where I'm developing artists from people that want to come into the room and see you at the 250 cap room and actually know your name. And to do that, it isn't reaching them at 21 only majority of the time and saying, here's this new sound. Shocking. You've never heard it before. Like, let's get them in there now, like Marshmello did on Fortnite. So, and what that did for us as a community, as EDM as a whole, is
astonishing. You know, whether people want to agree with it, like it or not, there's millions, I'd say, kids that came out that are now buying tickets to your shows and other artist shows that you and I are friends with or that we're not even acquainted with yet shows.
Right.
And that's huge.
It's the same thing with like the chain smokers. Like whenever they were popping off and just on the radio everywhere. I remember just like other DJ buddies like, oh, that shit's so lame. I'm like, bro, you don't realize what that's gonna do, because I mean, these kids might go to a chain smoker show and they're throwing like dubstep down. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know that's gonna spark a whole new generation of listeners.
Yeah, and it can just be that one track, man. It's like you hear hard style in a set, and everybody beforehand in the most genres in the United States are like, "Oh, hard style. I'm not a fan of it. Scares me." But you know, you hear that hard style for the 30 seconds in that one set, and half that crowd sitting there with their fist pumping, having a great time dancing. And you're like,
what the fuck is this?
That was hard style, bro. Like, you had a great time for that. Like, it was put in the right taste in the right moment.
Yeah, it's like throwing drum and bass in on a dubstep crowd at the right time. They're like, oh, shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
dude, yeah, I know. Like, I didn't get into dance music until I was 17. You know, it was at BOO Fest in New Orleans. And, like, I didn't even know much about electronic music, and then I heard it and I was like, yo, this is fucking incredible. And you know, it turned me on at a young age to like, now I'm doing what I'm doing now. And I think about it all the time with like, you know, whenever COVID happened and like a lot of venues shut down, there's festivals that are no longer happening, but also like almost a 2-year break of concert shows and local shows, all, you know, all that shit. You know, I feel like we lost almost like half or maybe a whole generation of people going into that music and getting into it at an early age.
Completely agree. Agree. And, you know, shows coming out the gate were on fire coming back, but they slowed down real quick afterwards. And I think that's part of what we saw there.
Have we gotten it back yet? Is it back to what it was prior to COVID? Because I know, like, I've talked to you, I've talked to a lot of other promoters, like agents and stuff, that were just like, man, it's like so much harder to get people out right now.
Man, I think it's market depending. It is harder to get things out right now, but what happened after COVID also, we saw that explosion of growth of events that were booked on top of each other. Then as a talent buyer production company, we just had agents and managers being like, hey, next tour coming, let's book it now. Let's do this. Let's get ahead. Well, we're still waiting on trying to get money back from other shows that we couldn't cancel the majority of. And, you know, that way we're just still tied up with money in the bank with all these artists and having to keep booking and moving, which once we came out of COVID, there was venues. Normally we reach out to venues and we're 3rd, 4th, 5th, 7th, 8th hold. We were coming out in those same venues 15th, 16th, 18th, 19th hold to be able to get a date on that same date in the room.
And for people who don't know what he's saying, like hold, he's like the 18th person trying to get that room on that date.
Yeah.
So you said it depends on the market if it's better. Do you think it's depending on the market? I don't know. How's Kansas City compared now to before COVID?
Man, I think it's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Some of the lineups that, you know, a lot of the companies are putting out are crazy. Lineups that my crew are putting out might be biased, but, you know, the 15-year anniversary was a show called Genesis. It was Of the Trees, Potions, Chi, Visages, our boy Pleasure, you know, Sean McCarthy. So then a handful of other guys that are all in our circle, 3 stages and 29 artists. I had people come from 24 states, I believe it was.
Damn.
So and then just the other night on 420, I did Turney and Sound, Whittler, and Distinct Motive. You know, and those are fat lineups, dude.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Kansas City's just turned into like a pop and market too. Like, I don't know, maybe I just don't know the city all that well, but I feel like the city has just been popping it, and it may just be because the football team got really good.
It's been crazy. Like, on 420 alone, there was 4 other concerts, all of them sold out also. And those
kick-ass.
You know, there was the night before, there was, I think, 4 or 5 electronic music shows with 4 headliners in the market. So it was pretty wild.
You said something earlier about you're like, I went to the negative and then I went and got a business partner that came along, like had the same like business plan or was aligned with the business plan I had. How hard is it as like a promoter to like, how many shows can you go in the negative until you're just like fucked?
How big's your investor?
Right.
Like also, is your investor on the same business plan? A lot of investors come in, they want to see money immediately.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of investors come in, they want to see money over a handful of shows. We found an investor who specifically threw concerts for a living. That's all they did. Polestar said one of the owners in, I believe, 2016, 2017 was the world's largest grossing talent buyer. That kind of gave us power to really maneuver and do what we wanted to do. And we developed and grew with them as a family, and the owner of that company's best friend of 25 years is one of our similar friends, Jesse Jackson. And Jesse has kind of been
The Jesse Jackson.
Jesse with Level Management. Yeah. The Jesse Jackson.
The Jesse Jackson.
Yeah. But Jesse, helped mentor me for years and developed it so we could do that and brought us into their arms as family. And, the goal wasn't to make money the first year, second year. It was to do like a festival build out. And a lot of people look at a festival lineup, as you and I both know, and think these guys are making a lot of money. A lot of festivals actually come out the gate and have a 5-year business plan to lose money until the 5th year. And the majority of them don't make money that 5th year. Mm-hmm. And they're gone between year 3 and 7, and that's just the reality of what these events are nowadays because of how much hard costs have become. Mm-hmm. So it's finding the right investor who understands the long run and the game,
Yeah, I know I had Dan Green and Disco Donnie on the podcast, and they were both, I was talking to them prior to like both of their festivals that coming up week or two, and they were just like, I was asking them about the hardest part about doing a festival, and they were just like, yeah, don't expect to make money the first couple of years. You just can't. How is it that, I guess you said it depends on the investor, but like, man, is it possible nowadays to do it without an investor?
There's people doing it. There's people that do it that come from grassroots, bottom dollar outlines like we did. I think I was in the right time, place, and got introduced to the right people, like you said earlier. But there's definitely people out there that are coming up, doing things from the ground up all over the country. It's few and far between. But, you and I both know a handful of those promoters that are out there just crushing the game right now. Mm-hmm. And it's like Toffler up there doing what he does with Infrasound, just to consistently put out a festival like Infrasound and do such unique lineups that he's doing out there it's wild, man. And in my opinion, it's the #1 deep bass festival in the United States for a small 5,000 or less person festival. Mm-hmm. The vibe that it puts out is up there with some of the top of the festivals in the country when it comes to.
What's harder, getting people in like a 300 cap room for a new artist that you think is dope, or like getting some people like in a 2,000 cap room that for somebody that's like established and popping?
Man, definitely. Again, I think it's market depending, but some markets just be popping off for whatever comes out there.
Yeah.
In a market like I am, it's getting something developing out there. It's so hard to reach out in a market that has 10, 15 plus headliners come out or more for some of these, cities a month to actually be able to do and show that your event is established. It's showing that you have that established brand. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it is going back to the community and supporting community everywhere around and being at everybody else's shows, not just to fly or the doors on the outs or hit the cars. It's to actually go there and support the artists, the DJs, the producers, whether you like them or not, hang out with the promoters, become acquaintances. It's just the reality of what we're doing. It's a business, it's an industry, it's a community. It's all around. That's what this is.
What is the dumbest or silliest way you've promoted a show? Something that's just outside the fucking box.
Man, I got this series of gold coin parties. We do random pop-up things, hand out gold coins that get given to random people to hand out, and it's not always the same people to pass those coins out. They're all underground parties. We try to do as many underground different venues as we can with them. And it's kind of like a lo-fi vibe, or sometimes the vibe to what the after party of the needs are. And then we do like an official after party, and then we'll throw like the gold coin party. And you don't get told anything about it. You just get given a coin or the phone number on it.
And that's like the location of the party?
Yeah, it's a call line info party, kind of like old school style.
Ooh.
And, it'll tell you that your coin's good for you plus 2 or 3 other people. You pay at the door. Here's the price. Here's the address. Don't share the info. You have to bring that coin to the show and show it at the table to get you and your group in. And we've done some wild parties with it, man. One of them, I went around and pretty much asked everybody if they wanted to have a good time at an after party during a Schmongel show, and if they said yes, they got given a gift with the flyer. And if they said anything other than yes, my people were told just to walk off.
Yeah.
And not ask any other questions and just go find somebody else. And at the end of the party, the after party showed up, and there was 200 plus people that were all super ultra Schmongel type weird.
Oh yeah.
And
that's a whole nother level of wook.
Yeah, getting down in the basement of an industrial warehouse in our
dude, that's where they were born, dude.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. The other day for that Genesis show, we did this crazy party, dude. I did like 2,000 plus people for this Of the Trees headlining show we were talking about. And at the show, I just randomly went up. I didn't even tell my business partners I was doing a gold coin party. I told my roommate and 2 drivers. And I decided to say, hey, go to the official after party. If you're at the official after party at some point, I might find you, and there'll be something really special that happens. And the people were like, all right. Handfuls of people I told. Rumor got out. Bunch of people went to the after party. The core community people, and then the people that I'd like kind of been watching and having my hands watched throughout the night. They were just vibing, being respectful, having a good time, and people that we didn't really know from our area before or hadn't seen out at shows. We pretty much walked up and were like, here's a gold coin, go outside and stand in this line right now. Don't ask questions, grab your group. And they were like in shock. And we were like, no, if you trust us as promoters, you'll go do this. And next thing you know, we went outside and we had 2 caravans 45 minutes apart, and it ended up pushing everybody to an underground cave in the caravans. And we threw an underground cave party.
Whoa.
Yeah. I ended up.
They got caves out in Kansas City.
Missouri's one of the most mined states in the country, from my understanding.
It's fucking true, man. I don't know how and why I always forget it's Missouri.
Yeah.
It's Kansas City, Missouri.
All the ones around were like Mindstone blast caves too. So they had heavy machinery and all that kind of stuff back in the day. So, a single 15 and a small subwoofer, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
So we ended up having like 125 people, I want to say, pop into this cave over 2 caravans. Nobody knew where they were going.
So sketchy.
Dude, they got walked.
You really got to trust your promoters.
So they got taken out to kind of a rundown commercial / industrial area on the far side of the city, about 15, 20 minutes away, and rushing caravans having to race and keep in lines of like 20 cars each. And ended up having to park, walk down quarter mile down an abandoned road, jump over a road barricade, walk a few blocks through the woods, and then almost a half mile down into a cave. And you couldn't hear the sound the whole time until all of a sudden you're like couple 100 yards, if that, away from the music.
Oh, wow.
And there's a fire pit, trampoline, all that kind of stuff set up down there.
Sounds like a cool party.
It's pretty wild.
Did those type of things get you more excited than like the actual event? Are you looking more forward to like the cool after party that you get to like what's the word? I guess create could be the word, but I had something else, a bigger word, more articulate word that I totally just forgot. But yeah, do you get more excited for those?
I like the chance to be creative, man, like what we did with Genesis, and having fun with the after parties it's fun. It's a thing to do. I'm 39, about to be 40. It's getting hard, but I enjoy it. It's I'm part of this culture. It's my lifestyle. I don't see myself going anywhere anytime soon for at least being a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a consumer, this is what we do in this culture. You look at other countries and, they're going till 6, 7, 8 a.m. regularly like it's nothing. Why do I got a problem going till 3 a.m. as a 50-year-old?
Yeah, dude.
That's kind of my goal.
It's all mindset at that point.
Yeah, I run so many overnight, late night stages at this point. Like, it's part of my job, dude.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, dude, how dead are you like day 4 or something being stage manager?
It's rough, man. I just did 2 7-day festivals in a row and then did 2 countries in between and hiked the Salcantay Trail into Machu Picchu, which took me up to like 16,550 feet.
Damn.
And, probably should have gone a little bit lighter than that, because right in between landing in my 3 days and being home, I threw that festival Genesis and then went to Texas Eclipse to run the Earth stage at night.
And so at that point, you just dead.
Yeah, that's why I was like, my last 2 months has been rough.
Damn. I want to get into more stage managing stuff, but I do want to ask, man, what is it like between you and like the officials in Kansas City? Like throwing these parties, like how tight do you have to be with like the local government to make all this stuff happen? I mean, even throwing like an outdoor show or a festival, like what goes into like being able to get that cleared and just maintaining relationships like that? And how do they take it all? Like, how do they feel about all this?
Kansas City's great working in it. They don't like a lot of sound in specific outdoor areas. The community's really starting to gentrify and build sky rises all over the place. The time frame of doing certain underground parties and that kind of stuff is getting harder and harder, and maybe slowly over the next 5 to 10 years coming to an end, depending what district that we're in, unless we look, into certain corporate style buildings and different stuff like that, because all the abandoned, rundown style places the EDM community's underground likes, just gone. But working with them on the legality wise of things, like we hire officers for every show. We have medics at every show from KC Medic. We have insurance at every event. They're pretty cool with us. We've had them come out and check out on underground parties even and kind of pop their heads in and be like, oh, all right, cool. So, it just depends on how you play with them for your regular shows, and if they're getting paid out regularly and you're not doing crazy stuff, then they're pretty cool there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's always cool seeing like cool cops at shows or like an event where like maybe they're just like kind of checking it out and they're like maybe taking pictures, fucking nodding their head. That's always the coolest, because it's like, hey, you feel safe, but also like, they're like, all right, we're not surrounded by a bunch of assholes. They're like, all right, they think this is cool.
Yeah, we try to hire for our large shows where we have the officers at them regularly. We try to hire the same ones every time on the off-duty one, just so it's a regular face that the people know. And that goes back to developing community. It's even all the way down to them. It's a person that someone sees regularly, whether it's an officer of the law or not. If I see you 5 times out of the week versus I see you once when I get pulled over, probably going to be a little more comfortable talking to you when I need help.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's a good point. All right, stage management, man. What's been like the fucking craziest fucking experience you've had as a stage manager? Actually, before that, Like, what all goes into the job of being a stage manager?
Well, there's a couple different outlines of stage manager in the festival and concert culture. In festival culture, a lot of times stage managers aren't on CC for the emails. They're walking in blind. They're getting handed a Bible, which is the riders, all the contracts, that kind of stuff, to be able to be in queue with what the festival needs. And from there, they essentially set up gear, get all the backline, which is what the artists are playing on, whether it be guitar, drums, keyboards, CDJs, turntables, controllers, you name it. We help assist the setup with our stage hands, get it dialed in there, help our A2, which is our patching guy for audio that you'll usually see on the side of the stage versus the guy that you see out at front of house in the middle of the crowd, who's your main audio guy. And we communicate all of those teams together in movements fluidly to stay on time, keep the show on time, and per what the producers, directors need, as well as adding in our LX, our visuals, and our lighting department team. And many other festivals have multiple, and stages have multiple other departments like rigging and you name it, up and down. Mm-hmm. So it's essentially, just making sure it's all built, developed there on time. And some contracts will have a stage manager there beforehand, helping monitor the build and queuing out that. So other ones won't. I personally prefer the kind of contracts where I'm there ahead of time, just so I feel like if a light were to fall on you, Mitch, on stage, everybody on stage is going to be like, where's the stage manager? What happened? And digitally at least. And that's, I want to know that my stage is safe across through and through. And digitally, I'm also not getting railed like all of us don't want to be.
If that's how I die, I'm cool with it. If a light falls on me while I'm performing and I die on stage, I don't know. But if I could pick where I die, on stage, brother. I
mean, Dimebag Darrell, a rock star.
Yes, dude.
So, it's a way to go.
It is a way to go, man. Have you had any type of fucking wild shit like that happen where you're like, yo, this shit's about to be unsafe?
I've definitely seen some wild shit happen, and I called it out before it happened, and I've seen it happen.
What happened, dude? If you can share.
I've seen things from across festival sites go up without the right kind of safety outlines, and all of a sudden, like a 15-foot long metal beam went 20 foot down and clocked the guy in the side of the head and sent him to the hospital. I've seen things from people on golf carts, just the basic golf cart, and something that we all like, oh, it's like a go-kart, but it doesn't go fast. We're not going to get hurt on it. Seen people flip off of it and hit their head on cement and have to go to the hospital. I myself have ridden a golf cart, had my heel partially off the golf cart, and it caught a root. I was a site manager of a 700-acre festival. We were there for 30 days before the festival, out probably a couple hundred acres on my own, checking areas that needed to get done to get the team developing and building on later. And silly me, should have had my foot in the cart, just like it says on those stickers right there.
Yeah, all limbs.
Yeah, man. And, a damn root popped up out of nowhere and pulled me off the golf cart, and it shattered my heel.
Yeah, every time I see you, you're usually hurt.
I've had 33 broken bones now.
Jesus Christ.
I almost went a few weeks ago to get my tailbone x-rayed. I'm kind of getting over a sore tailbone right now.
Dude, every time I'm around you, you hurt.
I like to do extreme sports and silly stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. I think
for someone who's so concerned about safety.
I after this last one, man, I think I came to the realization, I was like, I probably should not do this anymore. I haven't been able to stand up out of a chair. It's 2 weeks of not being able to sit down very good, and yeah.
I get that, man. Fuck, I keep on injuring myself and I can't stop it.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. I'm tall and skinny, dude, and goofy. What can I say? And I've learned going to all these festivals for years, since like 2003. Like, I think I am desensitized to a lot of things, like fun.
You're desensitized to fun?
Yeah, man. It's really weird, but like, I could stand in crowds and be like, if I'm not working, I'm just not having a good time. Like, yeah, this set's great right now, but like, I can also go to somewhere else, like Disneyland, and I'm like, oh, this is all right. Like, but I'm not like looking over at other people and they're just losing their mind at all this. And I've come to the only conclusion that I'm like, seeing a lot of these massive build outs regularly and all the crazy stuff that we experience, whether it be injury, medic scenario, production build out, new production, moving LED screens, fire on stages. Like, when you go to Disneyland, all of that's second nature to what you see, and it's just a little bit nicer now.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know the guy Free Solo, you seen that documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did like scans on his brain, and like, cause he's just like, when you talk to him, he just seems so emotionless. It's because his fucking, like, it takes so much for dopamine and serotonin to hit him because he's fucking climbing mountains without ropes. You know what I mean? So like, I totally get that. You get desensitized to all the shit around you. I mean, it's like just the same as an artist. Like when you play like your first couple shows, you're like, oh my God, this is fucking incredible. Or like on tour by like fucking month 2 on tour, you're just like, all right, here we go. You know what I mean?
It's your time for another one.
All right, time for another one, dude. Fucking get me a beer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing, man. So,
But all right, now, you said you seen shit fall. I remember you told me a story once, because you don't shit in the trailer. And then a famous rapper shit in the trailer.
not the famous rapper, but we had a music festival, and there was a large scale, top tier A grade rapper playing it, and they were bringing their child and their lady to this event in the middle of nowhere. And somebody on staff had went and taken a shit in their RV moments before they arrived, apparently. They wanted a whole new RV to get brought out, and you know, it's not always that easy to find, but you have to find one in that moment.
Yeah.
So you take one from someone else and be like, you'll get one brought here in an hour or two.
How different is that, like working with like, say like those top A grade rappers to just like your, you know, even just like top grade, like what am I saying? Top grade. You're fucking like your A-listers, DJ. Like how fucking different is that world?
It's extremely different. One of our production managers from our investors has gone out with DaBaby, Little Baby, you name it, Future, Cardi B for multiple city runs that they've produced. And, you know, he's telling me on one of them, he's like, I had to buy like, I think it was 20 plus pairs of new shoes every day. Yeah. Which I'm like, that's tight. Like, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm having to get runners to go source those and figure that out. And they're specific.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh. And there's also things like when people carry their big crews of friends out, like who's who in the friends, what do they roll with internally in their own communities, in their own cultures, in their own cliques, and who's who on the other crew, and who is with them, and what do they run with, and is there any opposites or any beef there? Do you know about this? If there is, security, you know, and it's a safe outline when you're doing a lot of mixes and shows to just have security and have it where it's teams and crews that come in 20, 30 people deep like that can't really co-mix with each other until it's clean stage, come on in, you know, and a lot of it gets moved around that way. And I find it entertaining. Like, you know, a lot of people think it's a headache, and I find it entertaining. Like, for a stage manager point of view and a production manager point of view, like, I want to do tours that land 18 semis regularly, like my partners and my mentors are all doing. I want to land arenas. It doesn't matter if it's electronic music.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter if it's country music. Like, I want to get to the top of my career. You know, just like you and anybody else that is out here doing this. And we can all say we're doing it for fun, but I started doing this shit for fun, man, and like became a job real fucking quick. Like when I'm putting hundreds of hours, you know, regularly into this a month, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
I don't have time for anything else. I wouldn't even know what the fuck I would do if I had to go do another job.
Be bored. You're so desensitized. You feel nothing. Nothing enjoys you.
Probably move, to be honest with you. Like, I've thought about that, and like, I think that's the point when I move out of the country and go just start like a whole new life and like become yoga Otter. Let's go sit on the beach and start yoga for my first time, and like,
You just
fucking hate beaches, but it'd be great.
You just become an ayahuasca shaman in fucking San Francisco.
Hell yeah.
Haven't done ayahuasca since I was a teenager too, and been just like, I know all about it.
Yeah, Mother Gaia is coming.
Yeah, the funny part about that is I just flew in from Peru with a ayahuasca vine that's like this big by like that big around.
Whoa.
And I did a lot of research before I put that in my bag to make sure it was,
You could do that.
yeah, and had no problems with that. I even lost the bag, and like 3 different airlines helped get the bag back to me, and they flew it back to Kansas City from losing the bag in Florida, but somehow my bag went back to Brazil and then to Peru. Yeah, and then back to Kansas City.
Damn, dude. Fucking ayahuasca's gotta be crazy.
Yeah. You know.
You brought that vine back. You about to do some more again, dude?
Nah, I've just got this real cool crystal case because I've been going to gym and jams for years now, and I go to the Tucson Gym and Mineral Show around it, and my roommate cuts Facet's gyms also, and you know, I've been into crazy jewelry as anybody knows me my whole life, and just from that I've developed like my man cave goal when I get older isn't gonna be like the beer signs on the wall, you know, it's gonna be things from places all over the world. Like I'm currently on a goal to go see all 7 man-made wonders of the world, you know, then I want to add as many UNESCO heritage sites before I die on a list that I can. I want to add something from all of that kind of shit into my cave, you know, by the time I'm 60 and looking back and being like, well, son, you know, like this is a story here, and that's, I want to look, every one of them's got to be a story.
Do you have kids?
I got a daughter, yeah. I don't see her. It's a pretty rough story. I'd like to be in her life, but you know, mom has always been pretty traverse against what I do for a living and who I am.
Damn, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
And she's 16 going on 17, and we're at that age where, you know, one day I'm looking forward to it and being positive about everything I can with it.
Hell yeah.
So
I love that you and I have totally different views on man caves. Because I am like,
what's your dream man cave?
oh, dude, the beer neon signs.
It used to be mine.
There's a bar, all right? There's a bar, a pool table.
Yeah, I want a pool table in mine for sure.
Yeah, pool table. The fuck, like a big TV for sports, dude.
Yeah, it got to be like a 90-inch on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's just the man cave.
Yeah.
If I see my girlfriend down there, it's domestic violence.
I kind of want like the barn dominium style man cave if I can. That's just like the branch off where it's like a fuck you, don't enter.
Yeah.
Like
Man cave just for yourself.
yeah.
Damn. Actually, I say this, but I'm like, I would use that space to have a cooler podcast studio.
I mean, you add that into your man cave goal, bro.
Right, dude. We just fucking
That corner over there is the podcast cave.
podcast cave.
Yeah.
Sounds dangerous.
Sounds sketchy.
Yeah, it does. I'm
Yeah.
like hitting up Red. Yeah, you want to come to my podcast cave?
Sounds like something off that TV show You get locked up in the glass room downstairs.
Oh, that's where like the dude's crazy and you find out the girl's crazy too.
Yeah, well, the guy's crazy and he's like the librarian and type guy, and he's like locking people into glass cages in the basement of his house all over the world.
Oh, he's pulling up some man caves right now.
Yeah.
Look at these.
There we go.
Damn, these are some dope man caves. Like at that point, when you have a man cave that dope, you might be gay.
We got one.
Like when you're making it so dope where all the boys have to be there all the time, and that's okay, but no women are going to be in there anyway.
There's one in the Uptown Theater in the basement that like nobody knows about.
I don't know about it.
Yeah, it's right by the green room you've hung out in a lot. So next time we come into the room, you play the main room.
You're telling me there's been a fucking man cave there this all these years and you've never shown me?
We don't know what people are going to do to it when we unlock the door and walk away.
Bro,
Like-
what, I'm just going to come everywhere?
I mean, there's phone numbers and stuff that might have parties that we don't want to have happen down there.
Okay, yeah.
So-
Mandingo party.
Yeah, we got to keep it clean.
Okay.
It's for shooting pool with your friend and basketball, and it's just your friend.
Dude, those are like my two favorite things in the world. I'm not as crazy as people think I am, dude. I'm pretty chill.
His third favorite thing is coming on walls, though.
Yeah, but luckily we're only get two in these scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where's the black light for the room?
Ooh. Ooh. That's funny. Fuck, what was I about to go to? Oh man, I wanted to get your thought on this because I just saw that. I don't know if it's happening yet, but it's definitely in the talks. Kyle, can you look up the just fact check me on this? There's going to be a federal lawsuit brought to Ticketmaster. I've been reading about that because I know they got sued, but it wasn't like a federal thing, and Ticketmaster ended up winning.
Yeah,
that.
because Ticketmaster is Live Nation Entertainment, apparently. So it's Ticketmaster Entertainment or Live Nation Entertainment and Ticketmaster.
Yeah, Live Nation and Ticketmaster face an impending federal antitrust lawsuit. Will the government finally break up the monopoly?
It is a fucking monopoly.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly a monopoly.
It's clear as day, man.
It's unique. There's parts of what's going on in that I'm on board with. There's other parts as like a promoter where I'm like, well, man, I know what it's like losing money hand over fist just to throw these shows in venues in the markets that I throw shows in, just so people know, are what we call we grade markets A, B, C, D market, A being the best, going down and how big a crowds, what kind of production level we can bring out. I developed Kansas City and it was a D market originally, and now we're C pushing on maybe B. But it's when you're in a show like that and we're trying to put shows on, like, we don't get discounts from really what you're playing in Chicago to what we get down here in Kansas City for artists. So it's kind of like some of these fees that are on the backside, while yeah, I agree, are egregious for a lot of tickets that we get. I understand a $7 and $8 lift, $10 lift on some tickets also.
Yeah. Like they're having some where it's like the fee is like 78%.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, 78% of the actual ticket cost.
Yeah, and some of that stuff's just completely outrageous. And they can claim whatever they want to claim. And they can do what they want, and they own all their venues, and they own the ticketing company. And it's, a lot of promoters back in the day when they started saying that they were going to come together were a fear that ticket prices were going to skyrocket. And, from what I look at when I see numbers on a paper, and people might not like this and agree with it from consumer perspective, but when I do a show in an 800 cap room like I did the other night, 850 cap room in Kansas City, my expenses are so high without having a percentage at the bar. Most promoters in the country don't, unless they're doing them in a bar style room, or they own the room, that I'm looking at things where I'm upside down 75, 80% of the time. It's really, really hard to find a way to break even.
Yeah.
And even with the show that I did with Turnian and everybody else that we discussed on 420, my break even was over 700 plus people. So it's like to do 3 headliners that, while I love them and I think they should be top tier artists, they're second tier right now in festival culture, and Distinct Motive's third, moving on to second right now. And it's just, at the end of the day, to put that kind of artist onto one bill, it's like, how do you break even on that?
Yeah, how do you get the 700 people in?
Yeah, and most markets, and you and I both know, like walking into a show with even an artist on your size right now to walk in and say, hey, I'm doing 1,500 people in a room in a lot of markets, even 700 people in some markets or less, is a challenge for the promoter, you, everybody on all of our teams. And it's not saying that we're not developing and growing and getting there, but, I'm buying into this for the long run. Like, I didn't just get into this for the money.
Yeah.
We got it in for the fun.
Yeah. But so a lawsuit like this, you're thinking, like, how does that affect someone like you? Would that help where it's like you have your own market? I mean, how much are you involved in like a Ticketmaster when it comes to?
I don't see much of it changing ticket prices, to be honest, with the lawsuit. Like, again, when we're looking at 1,500 cap room or 1,000 cap room and my expenses being so high right now, like, where am I making my money, as a promoter? Like, most of these shows being 60, 70, 80% losses, and then you have your couple artists that are home runs. But in any developing promoter that you guys talk to in the country will tell me this, hey, I booked such and such, I took him from a 75 or a 200-300 cap room. I did his next 2-3 shows. I flew and drove to all these other cities just to hang out with them and try to develop a friendship to keep those shows coming to me. And now as soon as it got onto AEG and Live Nation's list of artists that they follow, because it's tracking enough ticket sales, I'm not going to get that show anymore because of buying power. And now this causes two things. It causes that promoter to potentially be sour or look up and be stoked for you in your career. But they're still sour about the process.
Yeah.
And I just don't see when certain agents and managers are out there driving and asking for these, what most people would look at and say are outrageous price points or just crazy price points for an hour and a half set. I'm looking at and I'm like, well, they deserve it. Look at all these Korn and everyone else that's getting crazy more money than that for this hour set. Like, but now how are you supposed to send these same ticket prices to the consumer? It's that afterage markup, and that markup can be deducted, but there still probably has to be the difference of percentage at some point that gets marked into there for the ticket lift, meaning the add-on additional cost. I don't think it's 20% even, but I think, they're 5-10%. It's probably got to go there because that money a lot of times goes to help developing venues. And it also goes to pad the loss on companies for a lot of their other shows that they've done. It helps the development of both of those things.
Yeah.
So I think with Live Nation, a lot of what they're probably doing is, they're doing so many shows, they're maybe padding a loss. I have no evidence in that, but it's, and looking at numbers in a talent buyer, how do you make my spreadsheet start to get more even, and that'd be one of the ways to do it.
Right.
Add fees on somewhere.
Do you think with the lawsuit, if it does go through and it's like, it's proven they have a monopoly and then the federal lawsuit wins, does that, in a sense, help that smaller promoter that you were just talking about that's saying, I did all these shows with these people and then they jumped ship because of buying power? Did they lose buying power at that point?
Not unless an agent, a manager wants to quit selling to Live Nation or AEG, or they have to be disbanded as companies.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of foolish to say, yeah, we're not going to work with these two companies because they're like,
if I'm going to be able to look at your agent and manager tomorrow and say, hey, I can give you a 48 city tour. We're going to stop in 45 states around the country. I'm going to offer you this much money. Everybody else is offering you 1 and 2 city stops. You're going to 100% jump on board with what I'm offering you.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right.
So as far as I see it, unless they're disbanded as companies, like, it doesn't help the smaller company, you know?
What if this lawsuit does go through, like, you can't make them disband the company, I don't think, can you? But like, I would just make them make the service fees smaller, but in the sense they'd probably make the ticket fees higher. Wouldn't you think?
I think they'll figure some way. I mean, these guys have some of the best attorneys in the world, you know?
Yeah.
They're way more intelligent than me and most of the people on my network, you know?
Yeah.
So it's what they can do with the money that they have is, you know, pretty astonishing.
Right on. With you been doing this for so long and so many different like facets of like just working in the music industry, what was like a big, like probably the biggest lesson you got taught or just learned? I won't say got taught, maybe got taught from doing it. What was like probably like the biggest lesson that you learned just from trial and error?
Redundancy always. And if you think something's going to go wrong, it probably is.
Oh, dude, you got to be you better not be what is it? There's optimistic people. And what's the other one that's
Pessimistic?
Pessimistic.
Yeah, pessimistic.
Damn, so if you're pessimistic, it's just always going to go wrong.
Yeah, something's always going to go wrong.
Right.
And if I'm not thinking that something's always going to go wrong, then we're not prepared for when it does.
Yeah.
And if I'm not thinking that something's always going to go wrong and I don't have a redundant outline already in place, when something goes wrong, you're fucked a lot of the time.
What's something you knew was going to go wrong and then it happened?
Man, that's a rough one. There's a lot of times, you know, there's just sometimes on stage, like a cable dies, like just for when we get down to the basics of it. CDJs, you know, I don't ever step on a festival stage as a stage manager, and I will always have my digital and my RCA's cables running for that CDJ. You know, a lot of people are like, why? But it's like, what about when one of those cables just magically chooses to die right now? You know, I know it's rare, but it does happen.
Magic is real.
It's a thing that happens, and it could happen at any given time for any crazy reason for all I know, but when it comes to you and your set and or another artist and their set, I need to know that I can have that shit fixed on that CDJ deck, you know, immediately. And if it's not fixed right there, then I've got a delay for the consumers who have paid money to be there for the show. And as a brand, as a stage manager brand and a production company brand, dance floor shouldn't be fucking dead ever in the electronic culture, man. Like, we got to have something going and keep it going, you know? So it's just like, you got to be able to turn that knob from line to digital right there and you're done. It's boom, it's done. Now, all of a sudden, that deck that died is ready to go. You don't have to find a new cable. You don't have to jump through boxes. It's just there. You know, it might have a little lower signal, but it's there, immediate.
Yeah.
You know, and you as the DJ who is in that artist mindset, and you and I both know some of our friends have to have 4 decks. They cannot play without it.
I'm the same way. I have to have 4.
Yeah. So it's like, I got friends that will have panic attacks in the middle of that set because one deck goes down and they have to rework the entire set right there in their head to be able to do it. And it's like, what happens if that happens right when that cable dies and all of a sudden you're having to figure this shit out and you can't queue up on that 4th deck? Like, I don't want that. Nobody wants that. So it's, you know, redundancy always, dude.
Yeah, I know. I've been having to like, I guess like when you're talking about like redundancy and just like having a plan, dude. I hate that I do this, but like if something goes wrong on stage and it's out of my control, it ruins almost everything for me. I'm like forcing myself to get back into it, even though it's completely out of my control. And usually in every facet in life that something like that happens, I'm able to let it go because I know it's out of my control. But when it's on stage, it fucking just ruins me.
And let the festival directors and the production managers out there know that's why having a good stage manager matters. Is so the artist right here can keep in his artistry focused state of mind.
Yeah.
Not have to get broken and not deter the quality of his set for our consumers out there.
Oh, dude, I'll be let it be known. Hire me. Fucking, I gotta go now.
It's just the reality of that shit, dude. And like, how many times do you just be honest? How many times do you get a stage manager that sucks at a festival?
Not that often, I don't think.
How often do you think that they come out and they're just killing it, doing what they need every time?
I don't know if I've ever, maybe a few, if I'm being honest.
That's rare.
Yeah, maybe a few. They're usually on top of it. There's never like, there's been very few times where I'm like, damn, that dude's fucking on top of his shit or shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and a lot of the times it's your set started, 5 minutes into your set, they're off the stage somewhere else, right on the back, dealing with 5 other issues. And they don't have an assistant.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got to be there for that whole set.
Yeah.
Like, get your assistant queued up and get it ready to go.
Yeah, I've had times where I'm like, yeah, where the fuck is somebody?
That's my point.
Yeah, I have had those times.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's like, from my perspective as a concert promoter and a festival, you know, I would say financer and co-owner of with people, it definitely comes down to my concern when I'm in the crowd and I looked up as the consumer back in the day and I noticed there was something wrong.
Yeah, you can tell.
I just don't want to be able to tell. I want that shit to run like butter. I want everybody in the crowd to look up and be like, everything throughout the weekend looked like it ran smooth on stage. Mm-hmm. And if it ain't like that, it ain't right.
Right, and it's never smooth. Like you said, something always goes wrong.
It's always going wrong, or someone's not there always.
Yeah.
It happens more often than people would think.
What's the biggest fucking train wreck that you've been like, you're stage managing, this thing's fucking happening. What the fuck am I going to do right now?
We could take that a couple directions.
All right.
Medic-wise, kid was walking around. I kind of noticed he was confused. A few minutes later, he was in his boxers and randomly going up to a bunch of custom groups of people. They were all weirded out. Pretty sure you might have been playing headlining or was one of the direct support at this festival's headlining.
It would be a TVBOO fan.
Damn it, dude! Don't put that out there. You're pretty sure it was me. All right, continue the story. Yeah, it probably.
I don't remember what the kid did or what he ate, but ended up I jumped off the stage and had to get there and get the medics to the situation, and I got pissed on. I carried the kid out I carried the kid out to the side. I held him in my arms the whole time. He didn't have a fanny pack or anything on him when I first saw him.
Dude, I remember you telling me this story.
Dude, at one point he has a fanny pack on him, and the cops are like, we're opening the fanny pack when they get there, and I'm like, out come the drugs, all of them, tons of them. And I'm fighting for this kid, like, did not have that when I saw him when he was clothed or when he was in his boxers. Must have been picked up off the ground from one of the random groups that he was with. It's probably not his. How do we know? Obviously, he's intoxicated, but, like, you can't pin that on this guy right now who can't talk. Like, and cops rolled with it and threw it in the dumpster.
You fucking saved that kid from fucking...
Well, he went on Facebook or on Twitter and was like, I ate 25 hits of research chemicals, blah, 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 blah. And the festival director went out and called his ass out for, you know, being irresponsible, though, after the event. You know, and the kid's Twitter handle was like, research chemical tester or something like that. Like, I kid you not.
God damn it. It's a good thing the cops didn't take him to jail that night, because just evidence upon evidence.
It's just wild, dude. Yeah. You can't make that shit up, though. You know,
yeah,
like,
right.
Some of the shit you have happen go down at festivals is wild, man.
Yeah. I remember you telling me, I remember the festival, the show that this was too. We're not going to throw it out there. What's another train wreck? I mean, that's a fucking wild story. You're getting pissed on. I don't know how you went up that.
I got one. One of the largest artists out there. I didn't know I was arresting. I had to get security involved on the assistant artist manager of the artist at a festival. And at that festival, the head security guard hangs out at my stage. He pretty much lives there, working there all for the whole festival. He lives there. And he saw an argument back in what I was telling you, the A2 area where my guy patches. And, you know, the area wasn't much bigger than this corner of the room right here. And
yeah,
guy's getting his ass handed to him the whole festival.
Just by
falling behind and having to patch and keep things up for bands. And we were having hard times keeping everything on schedule, and this guy's just standing in his area and he doesn't have much room to move and do what he needs and has hundreds of cables to plug in every 30, 40 minutes, you know? And I'm like, you got to go. Like my guy's like, you got to go. You got to go. And he pulled the, do you know who I am card? I was like, I don't give a fuck who you are. This is my stage. You got to go. Guy didn't want to go and stayed there. And we played that round 5, 6, 7 times. Finally, security's at the bottom of the stairs lined up 5, 6 deep. Guys standing at the staircase in top of the stairs in my area.
Wait, so this guy who's saying I'm not going to go, is you said it's like one of the biggest artists out there?
He's one of the biggest artists, assistant managers out there.
Assistant.
Yeah, like the manager's assistant.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So, you know, he's like, you don't know who I am, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Get off my stage. My guy's getting his ass handed to me. I've got a guest wing over there. You can go hang out in that area. Leave. Like, this is for working people. You're not working.
I got shit
like
I got to do.
Yeah, I'm showing you my work. He shows his working path. I'm like, you ain't working on my stage right now. We manage this area. At this point, security comes up, and I'm like, I got this. I don't want any security situation getting past me and having something as security, as we all know, can get out of hand like that. And the quickness, and I just wanted to downplay the scenario, so I tried to do the hand, come on, buddy, let's turn around and walk out. And it ended up him turning around and grabbing me real quick. And when he put his hand on me, security put their hands on him, and he got thrown down 5 steps of stairs onto his chest, hogtied, carried out. In that time frame, I'm like, all right, good. Got to get back on stage, and set time's coming up. I'm like about to run over on the set time. I've got a DJ that has a live band set up with them. It's a shit show right now. What are we going to do? All of a sudden, the power shuts off. And I'm like, what the fuck? And so I turn over, I look around, I'm like, mixer off.
The power of the whole stage?
Well, at this point, I didn't, because I'm looking so quick, I hadn't concluded that. So I look over at the amp racks, I'm like, amp rack, LED lights, everything's off. And I'm like, it's got to be from the generator or something else. You check over here at your distro. I'm going to run to the generator area, see what's up. Well, up there, I see him struggling a couple yards past the generator, and I find the generator somehow is unplugged into the grass, and it's turned on, and I'm like, this isn't supposed to happen or even be a thing. What the fuck? And at this specific event, you have to have the head electrician or one of his people before you touch a generator at all. So I had to clear the area around this live power, potentially. Didn't want to find out at the time. Got the electrician there, got them there, shut everything down, powered it back up, turned everything back on the stage, got it going. It was probably within 10 minutes. In that time frame, we had the drummer of the band playing to the crowd, probably like 8,000 people in the crowd.
Oh, wow. How'd the power shut off?
The struggle on the way out.
From the person that got kicked off?
The person that got kicked off. Well, long story short, the next morning, artist management, a bunch of the friends on the label text me these pictures of this kid doing hogtied gifts and stuff. And I'm like, what the fuck's this about? And apparently they hogtied him or tied him up in some way. And we're taking him off the property. The owner of the festival saw it happening, stopped him, got him on his cart, took him back to the RV, and he was just drunk at the time, and he was on a rant. And, you know, some people get drunk and they get into that state sometimes. It just doesn't stop when it snowballs, and that's where it was. And he didn't realize who had taken him back, and the owner was straight up like, if you want us to trespass him, if he comes on the property tomorrow or onto your stage area tomorrow specifically, we'll trespass him off the property. And at that point, I was just like, I had never had confidence. I knew I was good at my job, but I didn't have like confidence as a festival stage manager because I never had a boss look at me and be like, yo, you did the right thing, and doing that, finding out who it was after the fact, and then having that, I was just like, went from a panic attack to just like a great feeling.
Yeah. Wait, so the person that got kicked off went and, you said there was the struggle. Did he go and unplug shit or just?
No, they were trying to get him into the golf cart, and one of the officers, security or people involved, somehow hit something off the generator, which has a twist cam lock, and they're not supposed to unplug, and it came out.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a fucking nightmare. Or this music festival stage is dead.
The other one was this was probably real quick story. My favorite one. Your girl Maddie O'Neill was on stage, and this one was at summer camp in the old school Vibe tent back in the day. Flash flood hits, and that stage starts flooding. 1.5 foot, 2 foot, 2.5, 3 foot deep of water backstage.
Whoa!
Just like that, and all of a sudden, all the generators and everything, spider boxes, just in a matter of seconds, just got covered in water.
What?
Yeah.
How does that happen in seconds?
It's just, within, had to be 10 minutes, but as you're like dealing with the panic of everything,
it happens quick.
It happens in seconds to you mentally, you
Yeah.
know, and you're just like, shut everything down. And we had like 30 people on the stage, had to clear everybody out. Like, someone got hit 50 yards outside of the stage or so by a lightning bolt. Like, it's crazy shit, dude.
And then everyone's looking towards you.
Yeah.
What do we do here?
What do we do here? And I'm like, I'm fucking digging trenches right now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm
Trench
stage
warfare.
number 4 here at this festival. You think that I have all the side op crews coming to me? My stage hands and I are racing to get our stage fired up before stage 1, 2, and 3, who get all the help do. And we're doing it. I shit you not. I pulled my Honda Accord hybrid and I reversed that bitch in because I knew, it's like rear wheel drive at that point, all the weight's in the front, and I'm just reversing it and digging trenches back and forth, forward and back. And then we're like, taking the burnout trenches that I made and shoveling to that to get the backstage water drained out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Trench warfare up in that bitch, dude.
It was wild.
Hey, it's good thinking, dude. Let me take my Honda Accord hybrid and fucking try to get it going. Well, those are fun stories, man. We got some fan questions I wanted to get to.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Dude, I will say, actually, I'll wait till it gets to it because you'll have fun with it. Before we get into the fan questions, Kyle, did you have anything you wanted to ask Mr. Chris Otter?
Yeah. What is something that you thought was important when you were younger, only to grow up and realize that it's not that important to you?
Man. Give me a second on that one. That's a good question, Kyle.
Thank you.
I can answer why he thinks.
Yeah.
Other people's opinions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think for me, I grew up in a middle upper class family and then kind of moved to a super lower income area as soon as I moved out of the house. And the whole time I always wanted to have property, something of my own. And I'm like, more and more in life getting content to not necessarily owning things, even though I want to own land. If I get it one day, I think I'm at this point where I'm at great. But as a kid, like with my family and everything around, I was just like, oh, you grow up and you buy a house and you have a wife or a husband and you get married. And like nowadays for me, it's more learning to be okay with myself and, partner, everything around. And it doesn't have to be about necessarily your direct inclusive family. It's really about you and how you're moving internally on your own and move together with others.
That's some good shit right there.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's beautifully said. Kyle, the way we have to do the questions is fucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember how we did it last week?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I had emailed those to you.
Yeah, I got him right here.
Cool.
I'll play the first one.
All right.
You ready for it?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I just had it. There we go. Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Your email, buddy.
Yeah, I have it here. It's just not. It's not playing. Give me a second.
Maybe because it's no.
No, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Panda from Dallas again. What's up, dude? This is Panda from Dallas again. I know I've left a voicemail or two here and there. I know you guys are super busy. As far as like production and all that stuff goes, running A&R and doing, transportation, I've heard some horror stories, and I love to hear some horror stories from you about just things that go wrong. I know that's probably a big list. Write it down. It'd be awesome. Thanks. Later.
We kind of already got it. Yeah, we kind of already got into that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll just to make it short, I'll just say A&R is one of the hardest departments to run in the entire festival culture. They are consistently going for making sure that you guys have food, water, trafficking, golf cart rides, to and from hotel rides, making sure that you have hotels taken care of. Anything that they need that your tour manager for artists that have tour managers isn't handling, these guys are handling. And it's not something that is ever going to be a home run. And it's not something that's ever necessarily easy, especially when you include the onboarding process once you arrive at an event, depending on the scale size of the event.
One of my things that kind of grinds my gears with A&R, warm beer.
Oh, man. I mean, I heard you got some of that right now.
I do. But it's one of those things where it's I had a friend who was doing Gucci Mane's rider the other day. And she was telling me about the rider, and I was just like, what the fuck? You were saying your buddy was like, he had to go get 20 pairs of shoes every stop, where it's like shit like that. I'm like, I just need cold beer.
Peekaboo's was my favorite. One of the tours, he was like, I need a 6-foot life-size cutout of myself.
Yeah.
And then they wanted the tour pictures redone of them and Betty White and all the girls from the Golden Girls. And so I did it. So I figured no promoter does it. And we posted the entire tour flyer with them dressed up as Golden Girls with their faces put onto the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And put like 100 of them around the venue. So everybody in the venue had to see it.
That's amazing, dude. I don't have anything fun like that on my rider. I just have cold beer.
I feel like you should do it, man. You're the comedy guy.
Yeah, I thought about doing like a litter of puppies. I know it's not funny. I just love puppies. I'd just be scared I'd leave
Something
with
the
one.
promoter has to do that will reach out to the customer basis that entertains the customers when they walk around the venue that they find as pop-up things.
Oh, like inflatable dicks. That'd be like I don't know why my mind just went straight there.
I mean, it's a great one for you.
Yeah.
Inflatable dicks with the taboo thing on it need to be put somewhere all over.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That is fun, but also I don't like asking for a lot. You know what I mean? I like to keep my riders and stuff like that.
That's one of those
basic.
requests though that it's like
Not everyone.
I know when I see a fun one that it's like if you can do this or you want to do it, do it.
Yeah.
You can also put like, not required.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Just
make it fun
Mitch
for the
happy.
customers though, and make the promoter pay for it here and there.
Okay. Yeah. Why not? All right. Let's get to another question, Kyle.
Yeah.
What's up, TVBOO? I appreciate you having some industry folks on the podcast so we can get some questions in, but at the same time, fuck you. My question is, for someone who is looking to get into stage production and event management without becoming a promoter, how would you recommend someone start along their career path? And also, what are some things that you would tell a young person getting into this industry not to do? Thank you very much for your time. I hope y'all have a great day. But like I said, fuck you, TVBOO. Asshole.
Love it. I like this guy's attitude. I like this guy's style.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
He's on point. Fuck you, Mitch.
Yeah, always.
To be honest, try to find people that are in the industry, work your local shows, volunteer, get in. I know it's cliche to say to things, nobody wants to hear it. Volunteer at your local shows. Talk to your promoter. If there's not a promoter in town that wants to put you on board, find another promoter. there's somebody at some level of show that'll do it. You know, from there, find the people in the industry that you look up to, that you see all the time out there, and try to like model yourself and what you're doing within the job scales of that. You know, a lot of these promoters, and I'll just be blunt about it, and a lot of these stage managers and the best tour managers, as we both know out there, like they're not necessarily sober people, but they're not out there at a show getting fucked up. They're out there at a show, whether they're working or not, understanding that the people that walk up to them are trying to look at them as professionals. And if I want to go to an event and someone sees me fucked up there, you know, I might lose that job opportunity. I might lose that conversation. And it sucks to say it's the same situation, but it's like, I need to be the guy that when that promoter needs a hand, yeah, you would not even just count on me. I see that you need a hand and I'm just going to jump in there and fucking do it without even telling anybody or asking it, you know, and doing that kind of shit, just what's going to grind you in any position that you want to get into in this industry, man.
Yeah, I would say the thing not to do, and you kind of hit on it, is do not get fucked up. You know what I mean? I can't tell you how many like agents, managers, you know, I've even fired people before because they couldn't handle the job. They couldn't handle the environment, where it's like they got the opportunity and then it's gone just because you can't you can't handle yourself.
You got home for that. You got vacation for that. You got camping for that. If you want to take it seriously in this industry, go outside, go to shows, support everybody around, and be the guy that everybody can look, or the woman that everybody can look at, and understand that, yo, when they need help, you're there to be able to do it.
Yeah, like, and I say there ain't nothing wrong with having like a cold beer, man.
Yeah,
I have cold beers.
Yeah,
I
you can be
every
responsible limit and be able to do that. But like, for me, being an addict, I'm sober from everything but weed, and I have been for years now, because I got to that point, and like looking at a grid, there's that tipping point, you know, and my tipping point hit. And I didn't see that tipping point when I got to it, and I didn't know when to say one or two was there, and it ended up being a handle and a half, you know. Let's go get some 30 rack after that. Like, you know, if you got to live that way and do it, like, you got to party like that at home and not party like that at the shows.
Yeah, maintain professionalism.
Yeah.
I don't know, you've been around me a lot. Have you seen me fucked up?
Nah. Not that I think about.
Yeah.
I've seen you having a good ass time for sure.
Definitely having a good ass time.
I ain't seen you where you're irresponsible about anything ever.
No, dude, I always like to have a good time.
Yeah.
And there ain't nothing wrong with having a good time, but still be like coherent enough to be a fucking handle your shit. That would be my tip to that guy. Like, because I've seen agents, managers, all types of shit. People get fired.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what position you're in this industry, any career outline, any walk of life, man. We're all struggling with addiction issues. We're all know somebody struggling with these issues. We all have friends or personal mental issues, you know, and it's just figuring out how to deal and gear around. So when you are out in the public, you know, people aren't necessarily seeing those personal development things that you have going on. It sucks to be able to have to hide it and do it professionally all the time. But, you know, like, you want to be the person that people can come to 100% of the time. And you want to be that production manager that's out there running with people like Excision and Grizzes and stuff like that. I can guarantee you those people don't miss a beat.
Yep. Yeah. Especially when it's that big of a scale.
Yeah.
But great question, man. Good tips too. Kyle, you gonna get to the next one?
Yep. Oh my gosh. There we go.
I am calling. My partner and I are very seriously considering opening up a warehouse type situation here. Think tribal roots, but in the middle of nowhere. So there is no scene where we live and where we're trying to do this. And Chris, I was having a question for you. How would you and how have you gotten bigger name artists to come to like a new, newly established scene or a newly established area with a new venue? Because we are, thinking about doing that, and I would love to hear your advice. TVBOO, you suck. Thanks, guys.
Let me get her name real quick.
Yeah. Let's hit the beginning of that, yeah.
Hi, Chris and TVBOO. I am calling from
She didn't say her name. What a coward.
Yeah.
She's going to say I suck, not even give us her name. You fucking coward. I hope you're aware. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm fucking around.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, shout out to Tribal Roots crew. Those guys are in Wichita, Kansas. They're middle of nowhere. I do shows in that market. Super, super hard market to throw EDM shows at, man.
I'm sure.
They are the first owners of Element Rigs in America. Phenomenal sounding audio rig. They found a niche of what they're doing. They found a venue that there's no venues around within 10, 15 hours, that are consistent venues that have that 100% underground vibe. And it just shows up as a warehouse feeling that it's a free, loving art space. I haven't been there myself personally yet, but Shay is one of my good friends from working shows together, and his crew are all amazing people down there. And all of the people from Kansas City drive 3.5 hours one way just to go to these people's shows when they're putting out things like a Flintwick, and it's like, where else do you find in the country right now people driving 3.5 hours one way, 6-7 hour round trip just to go to artists the size of Flintwick right now? Like, it's not happening in a lot of places, and Shay's done it just by being consistent, creating something that he knew that people wanted, being different, being unique. When it came to booking those artists, all of us as talent buyers and promoters have that challenge. How do I get the bigger artist? How do I get the next? How do I get people to pay attention to our market when it's small, or even our company? How do I get the show over the other promoter? Well, you do it by just keep grinding, keep reaching out, develop those relationships. If you can go to a festival, for years, I put myself on the side of the stage right by where I realized when I was a consumer and didn't have all access passes, right by where I knew people would be going in and out of backstage. Creepy or what? Didn't give a fuck. I'm trying to find my conversation to make my next gig for my community and figure out how I'm going to get to that next step in my career. I was going to do what I needed to do it, and Shay's done that, and if you want to develop it, just get out there, take the first step. That's the hardest thing for people to do. Take a first step, continue taking that step. And no matter how difficult it is or what the money situation is, you got to keep looking for it and grinding. Eventually you'll develop that community. So, and I think on top of it too, for the warehouse, get a baller sound rig that nobody else has around your region.
Yeah.
I guess a big key.
Sound.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I'd prefer better sound, no visuals, no lights. Like, let's get it thumping, dude. Dark, old school, like warehouse, make it dark, dirty, and gritty.
You know me, I love working with my sound culture rigs.
Yeah.
It's some of my favorite things to do at festivals, but like as a promoter that doesn't own their own rig yet, I also have to understand the balance of when it might make sense or not versus just trying to bring it out all the time.
Right.
Just because there's ones within reach doesn't mean it's always financially available or accessible for us to do.
Do you think you'd be like, if you own your own venue, you wouldn't worry about so much about like, because I'm sure like as throwing shows, you're like, all right, let me rent the room out or work with this venue to get the room. Do you think it'd be easier if you owned your own building?
I've talked to my friends and partners about owning a venue multiple times over the years. I think it's a goal at some point in my life I kind of want to be the creative director for one, more so than just the venue. I don't really want to be the venue manager. Mm-hmm. Creative director, face, I have no issue with. I'm not going to do the paperwork side of all of it. I don't want to do the talent buy. I can help direct all of that. I can help direct the space, the vibe, the feel. But man, that seems like a lot on the fucking plate, dude.
It's a headache, yeah.
Yeah, and my investors own handfuls of venues all over right now. So it's kind of like we get grandfathered in and blessed into a lot of what they do that way. So I get to see a lot of the benefits from that. And, when there's security or issues that the people have in the community, we have people overseeing what's happening online and letting us know right away, and we'll go straight to the venue and have conversations with the managers of the venue, and we'll put the owners on CC for every one of them and try to change whether what happened or what the issue was the night before or whenever it was or wasn't, will get brought up, and we have the power working with a company that owns multiple venues to be able to help dictate different outlines left and right. Obviously there's a national standard, as you and I know, and it goes to things, and we have to adhere to a lot of that. But, if we find some fucky shit going on and someone's saying it, like, damn straight, we want to jump on it and make you feel comfortable. So,
yeah. How hard is it, like, in the day and age of just, like, if someone has a bad experience, it's going on the internet, how much does that affect you?
Man, it's everywhere. And EDM, I've said for years, is like, it's the number one chatter out of any kind of music. Like, our customer bases and our fans, I feel, are on the internet tenfold, talking more than they are on any other genre. There's a couple genres of music that are close, but like, what other genre of music do you go to a concert's event page and there's 30 fucking comments on the event page on Facebook? Like, you go to a major Excision type show, it's every fucking one of them in electronic culture. You'll go to a sold out Bad Bunny show in a city though, and there's 1, 2, 3 posts possibly.
Yeah.
That says something.
It's interesting.
So, we are extremely activated in our culture of electronic music with the internet, and it goes completely with what we are as producers and how we follow the chase of electronic sound.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, next question, Kale.
Yep.
Yo, it's Dustin from Denver.
What up, Dustin?
I always loved the pre-shows that people like Grizz used to throw around town. I know the man TVBOO is throwing one later this week. But since I'm not an artist, I always thought it'd be sick to somehow write something similar into my will as a way to give back to the community. I have no idea how to approach this or ballpark how much I might need to set aside to make something like that happen. Seems like the perfect episode to ask this question. Any tips or ideas on where to start? Thanks, homies.
Yeah, I guess just like how to throw a free show. I mean, how often can you do that? Like Grizz could do it.
Yeah, and I mean, we can do it too. It's rare for us to do it, and sponsorship obviously helps. But for something like what he's saying, for when someone passes away, I think a lot of artists maybe not want to have their brand attached to that as being a promoted thing. It would have to be probably, for the majority of large acts, something that is undercover, reached out with management beforehand, probably beneficially helps if you have a relationship with them. I don't know if there's a discount or anything that you would get for anything like that. I mean, like, just to be blunt, you're a blunt guy like I am. Like, what's it feel like for you when your manager comes to you and says, Mitch, I got this offer to play this. How are you going to feel about it?
I guess to play like a free show because somebody died.
Yeah, someone's funeral. Like, and you don't know the person.
A pass.
So
I don't honestly, like, if they're like, yeah, this person died, and they want you to throw a free show in their honor. You don't know them. They're a big fan. I guess I would consider it. Be like, all right. I guess I'd think about it.
You would obviously think about it, but it's also like, how many people go to a festival and say, hey, can we get married on your stage? Can I ask my wife to get married on the stage? Like,
dude, like, yeah. It's my boyfriend's birthday. Can you give him a shout out?
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, God, every show.
Something that we want to think about and we want to have into consideration. But
the birthdays, like, I don't even think about, dude. I just read it and keep going about my day.
It could almost become an uncomfortable thing for the artist, and it's like, artistry is still here having fun. Like, if you've done something in the industry, you are done something for community, you have a name that people know. Like, I don't think money's going to be the answer for that kind of one, though. Like, you're a douchebag, man, if you take money to go fucking play a funeral.
Right.
Like, it's just like the reality of the situation. Like,
But also, I'll do anything for money. So
I
if you want to
mean-
pay me to play your funeral, I'll do it.
I've been a douchebag a lot of times in my life, if we're being honest here.
Yeah,
So I get it from both sides. But it's just not what our cultural vibe is, you know?
True.
In electronic music, we don't pay people to do collabs.
Right.
You know, in hip hop, you pay someone to do a collab. Like,
True. Yeah, you did never pay for collabs. You can pay for a feature.
Mhm.
I've never paid for a feature though. I've paid for somebody's studio time.
yeah. Yeah,
So-
and that's kind of like what more we do in the electronic culture is pay for someone's studio time.
Yeah.
Like even features in the electronic culture, like unless we're getting into like mainstream pop house culture, it's kind of obscure.
Yeah, I had a guy that I was going to get a feature from that's like, I've been a fan of this dude for a long time. And it was seeming like he was just going to do it. I was like, fuck yeah, we're like vibing, we're chatting, talking about the song, everything was good. And as he's about to give me the verse, he's like, yeah, 30 grand. I was like,
Fuck that.
I'm like, bro,
Pass.
you think a DJ?
I got thousands of friends that are good, talented producers.
Right. Well, it's just like,
That's like what we do.
well, yeah, it was just like as a rapper. And I was just like, man, I thought we was vibing. You know, I ain't got no 30 grand to throw in a
on
feature.
that one, what happened to you doing a track with those kids on the I Suck My Own Dick? Just to give these people a background real quick.
Yes.
I was throwing a show in Nebraska, and I was on like a 3 or 4 night run with shows hosting with Mitch, like couple in Kansas, Missouri, couple in one in Nebraska, and we go up there, and I'm out of the room for 30, 40 seconds, and it's during the openers, and Mitch isn't there yet, and all of a sudden I turn around. Mitch is standing on the side stage, and he's gotten in the room on his own and didn't need any assistance, and the fucking opener has gone from an EDM set to, hey guys, we're going to do our hip-hop set. It's our first time ever doing hip-hop live. Blah, blah, blah. We're going to go out and pop these out. This song's called I Suck My Own Dick. And Mitch is standing there with his jaw just like, and I'm like really embarrassed for the moment. And then I start digging it into the track, and I'm like, this track's hot as fuck, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it was so hot. And they were just crushing it. And they did 3 or 4 hip-hop songs, I think. And
Yeah, and they're all silly as shit.
what happened with that?
Dude, I was so stoked. I'm like, Chris, did you book these guys on the show on purpose?
Yeah, I think you told me, you're like, I've never had a promoter understand the assignment more.
Yeah. They're rapping about sucking their own dick. Richard Nixon.
Yeah, Richard Nixon. I
Yeah.
suck my own.
Yeah. So like live, it was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
incredible.
It's
And
phenomenal.
so I ended up talking to the guys, and I love those guys, man. I want them to keep sending me music, but I could tell it's still kind of early on.
Yeah, this is in like the very beginning of the project.
very
for it.
beginning. So they sent me this stuff. It just didn't sonically the quality of sound wasn't there. The idea is great, but it takes a long time to get.
You just got to take them for the vocals.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a long time to be like, most every producer starting has great ideas if like they have that in them, but what takes the longest is figuring out how to make those ideas sound good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that was the thing. I talked to them. They send me some music every now and then. I always listen to it.
I love it. I hope on one of these days I'm waiting for that collab to come
Dude,
out.
I'd do it, bro. If I could suck my own dick.
It would pop off with your vibing crowd.
Oh, for
Hike.
sure, dude. I got nothing but love for those guys. Like I said, they still send me music, man. That was like the best opening set I've ever seen, dude. I literally was side stage just like, are you guys hearing this? Are you guys fucking hearing this in the crowds? They're all laughing, and I'm like, yes, they're laughing and dancing. I'm like, this is what fun is.
Yes, everybody in the room embodied the spirit of fun at that moment.
They're laughing and dancing.
Phenomenal.
How does it get more fun
stage
than
performance, everything was phenomenal.
Yeah, they're wearing like their outfits are hilarious too. Fucking. Oh, dude, and they're carrying themselves so serious. It's not like they're not up there joking. They're like, I suck my own dick.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I love these guys, bro. I fucking love these guys. So shout out to you boys. I forget their names, man. Fuck, I hate that I forget the names of it. It's like Bussin' Boys. I could be completely wrong, but.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're close, right? Pretty sure you're right with it. Bussin' Boys, something like that.
Something like that, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out them, dude. They're fucking fun. Kyle's looking them up right now. I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's the local.
Yeah, Bussin' with the Boys.
Nope, that's a podcast, buddy. That's a sports podcast.
It'd be under like Bus Boys Omaha, Nebraska.
Yeah, dude.
That'd be your best.
Shout out the fellas out there in Nebraska rapping about sucking their own dicks, dude, holding it down for the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. But hell yeah, I'm glad you remember that, dude. I will never forget that.
Yeah, man. I had a question for you. I've been asking all the artists around that I work with on stage recently, kind of like a Nardwuar question. And it's more of a, if you had to tell everybody out here right now listening something about you personally or your project as TVBOO that nobody else knows unless they knew you as like a little kid or like at the very, very beginning of your project, what would one of those stories be? What is the short tale?
Re-ask it. I gotta
like, it's kind of like a if work thing. Like, what's the one thing nobody knows about you from when you were growing up? Or what's the one thing nobody knows about you from like the day that you were like, yo, I think I want to start a TVBOO project, that like only that one person knows.
Fuck, man, it's tough. Just
either one of those, yeah.
Because I'm such a fucking open book. I feel like I might have shared something on this podcast.
What's something about you that nobody knows? My favorite one so far has been Of the Trees' response.
What?
He was the prom king.
He's the prom king?
He was the prom king.
I got one, dude. I was fucking Elvis at a school play.
How old?
I was a youngin', dude, but like, every it was the role that everybody wanted.
I mean, you're the fucking best Elvis, obviously.
I'm talking about every dude at the school. Like, this is like elementary school, maybe.
Yeah.
Like 5th grade.
Back when Elvis was still kind of cool.
Yeah, Elvis is still
cool as fuck.
Yeah,
but like,
still,
that's when like everyone knew his name as a kid.
Right. But I think it was like 5th grade, and it's like every dude tried out to be Elvis. I just hit the power slide the best, and I fucking was like headbanging my fucking long ass hair.
Like you do now?
Oh, not like I had now, but I had a fucking long ass shaggy raggedy hair.
That's amazing.
And so yeah, I was fucking Elvis, dude. I got dude, everyone was so jealous because I was the star of the play, man.
I love it. Do we got any other questions?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we do. You want me to go ahead and run it now?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I was like, guys, I've shared so much on this podcast, shared way more than I should have.
Elvis. I'm going to start calling you that every time I see you.
Hell yeah.
Us in the Kansas City Midwest scene have all been wondering, how did the Chris Otter smoke mid joke come a thing? Who invented it? Where did it come from?
Yep.
Thank you. Y'all have a blessing.
So this is the one I was holding back earlier.
Hi, Dalton Jacobs here.
Yeah, Kyle, you're doing bad at this today, dude.
It's a new system.
Yep. We got so many calls today for you, and I was like, holy shit, we're getting more calls than normal. I was like, we're getting so many fucking calls, and about 90% of them was like, Chris Otter smokes mids. Why does Chris Otter smoke mids? You smoke mid?
Nah, but it's this is kind of a little bit of a story. JD Vanderweel.
Yes.
JD and I have been friends for years. We met at a shit show festival, and he was kind of my assistant then at that festival. Well, JD started for years when he first started doing visuals for Antic at a couple shows that he came to in Kansas City. Put Chris Otter's Wook on the screen in the middle of the show when he was like helping tour manager, being the driver / visual guy. And that went from, well, a lot of people don't know, is like the guys that developed and did our production for years, like, Chandler from Lasers. Mm-hmm. Chandler grew up with us and done lasers and lights for years. A handful of other guys that are just coming up and just crushing it all over the country, and all sorts of areas came from our crew years ago. Chandler at this point, and Josh, another guy who's been doing our production for our shows for years. Josh takes the Chris Otter's a Wook thing, gets a picture of me passing a joint to somebody, and it says, Chris Otter passed the booth. And, their consoles that they use at front of house with like the 3 screens across them. I'll just keep it basic for everybody instead of calling out the names of all the shit.
Yeah.
The 3 screens, it was me passing a joint And every single show we do year round, plus other shows that they do, and all genres, it says that throughout all of Kansas City. Lawrence, different areas in that area. The brains to their LED screens say Chris Otter smokes mids. So you could go under our stage and look at the brains in some areas to the screens and even see it there. Well, then it went from that to they started Chandler at Reconnection last year. As soon as we shut down the stage after the headliner, he fucking shot across the crowd in the back of the tree line and lasers. Chris Otter smokes mids. And Chandler's done lasers for some of the biggest artists in electronic music culture for the last 10 years, as you know. Like, top of the line laser guy right now at the peak of the game. And, you know, it's this guy's out here just having fun at a festival shooting my name, and it became the largest photo I think that he's ever taken on Facebook for like how much interaction it got.
Yeah.
So that started snowballing. And then a bunch of other teams started putting that into their LED screens or their lasers and their shit like that they would put at festivals. And it's popped up in the middle of like Liquid Stranger sets before, like hidden into screens and you name it. And it's gotten out of control. It's a brand now. But going back to the, you know, the corporate not necessarily looking at me and giving me opportunity, I feel like a lot of the time gigs, and, you know, it becomes an outline where does that affect me or not? Who knows? Don't give a fuck.
Also, if you went down the corporate route, you wouldn't be having that much fun. There wouldn't be a recurring joke around Kansas City.
Yeah, and, I mean, this is nationally at this point too. Yeah. It's happening, and so it's whatever. What other stage manager in the country has a brand right now like that consumers know and are making fun of?
Yeah,
having fun with.
Bro, we got about 30 calls about you smoking mids, man.
I was wondering how many you got.
Bro, so many. Like, that was like, I had to go through the questions to find actual questions. You know what I mean?
So next time I'm on something like this, it'd be tight if people didn't do that and actually gave all the questions, I feel like. Because, you know, there's a lot of time and it wastes your kind of time, too.
Well, no, this is entertainment. This is fun.
Yeah, it's pure entertainment.
Yeah,
I agree. But,
yeah.
You know, I feel like there's probably kids out there that want to have real questions answered, too.
Yeah, fuck them.
After
Nah, man. Yeah, fucking Chris Otter smokes mids. How, like, you need to just go buy like a pound, because how much would a pound of mid cost?
Oh, dude, so I booked Grizz 12, 13 years ago for the first time ever. Back when he was still part of Splatterbox, his duo that he went back to back with Freddie Todd with, when he was still doing DJ Grizz. And I found Grant playing in a grassroots dome back in the day. That's where I found him. And I immediately went home and was like, I have to book this guy. You know, I brought him out, $750 all inclusive. Then Dance Festopia does their biggest show or their festival. And a few years ago, that was the biggest show ever that he had come. And this goes back to, you know, competitors in the market and supporting everybody around. But I showed up with a fucking pound of weed and started handing out during Grant's set, literally handfuls of weed and paper to people in the crowd, just randomly. Didn't know you were, just trying to walk up in the dark, handing. You'd be shocked how many people looked at me and were like, "What is that? I don't." I'm like, "Dude, it's weed." And they're like, "I don't want to buy it," and I'm like, "No, it's free." Like, and for me, I was just like, Grant loves weed, I love weed. And like,
no, you love mids, dude.
Yeah. And like, you know, at the end of the day though, I was stoked, and I have a lot of friends that grow weed, and I was stoked that Grant was playing his biggest set in the market ever. And the nicest guy that he is, he deserves this fucking outline. I wanted everybody else to share the love, spread the love, like he says.
Hell yeah.
So
dude.
I just went to one of my grower friends and was like, give me a pound of weed on the low. I'm going to hand it all out for free anyway. And we handed a pound of mids out for that whole fucking set.
That's amazing. A pound of mids. How much does a pound of mids go for?
Listen, you can get it for cheap depending what state you're in.
I know. I live in Colorado. I don't even know if you can buy mids.
No.
Yeah.
No, not Colorado's got better weed than places that put out weed.
Yeah, I don't smoke weed at all, but like, if I did, I'd probably just need to smoke mids.
There's Colorado mids, but like Colorado mids are still better than like
it's like Mississippi
mids in a lot of other states.
Yeah, it's like Mississippi sour diesel. Colorado mids.
Yeah.
That's fun though, dude. Chris Otter smokes mids.
Yeah, it's a thing. Some of my partners have joked like, hey, let's develop the shirt brand of it about smoking mids and doing things like that off of the spinoff. So maybe look for that in the future. We'll see.
That'd be fun. I think you need to go throw a pound of mids out next Kansas City show I play.
I mean, Cottonmouth Kings, bro.
Yeah, dude, Cottonmouth Joe. Anyway, that was stupid. Is that it, Kyle?
No, we have two more.
All right, let's get to him.
Hi, my name is E. Jing from KC. My questions for Chris Otter are, how do you differentiate between people who only want to get to know you because of your position of power versus who you actually are as a person? Does it ever feel really lonely? Thank you. Bye.
Man, that question hits, I think, for a lot of us that tour, are artists, or anybody that's getting anywhere in the entertainment industry.
It definitely hits with me, and I can answer on this as well,
Yeah,
but I'm going to let you start.
Man, I try to stay in my own space, my own circle. Anybody that's seen me at shows in the markets around a lot of times would be like, he looks like he's busy or he's angry. Like, to be transparent, I run 3 paces through the crowd, so I don't have to stop to talk to people 24/7 because I have so much shit on the plate sometimes. Or I just want to go have my own fun moment with my girlfriend or my friends in the back of the room. And like, I'm blessed that everybody around or am in a spot that people want to get to know or meet me. But like, to be honest, if you get brought into my inner circle, you're probably somebody who's been brought into my inner circle through my relationships. I probably meet 3 to 5 people of my own a year that I call friends, and like, I just did a month-long trip to 3 different countries, and the kid that I rode with, I've known since he was like 12, 13, and every day this dude was meeting somebody new. And like, I think I met 2 or 3 people on the entire trip that I didn't already know that I tried to stay in contact with, and it's just nothing against them, but I run 5 companies and I'm entwined with multiple other businesses, and each one of these companies has so many independent things going that I don't have time really for anything else. And when I do get those moments, I really want to enjoy them with those people.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends, but like that list doesn't grow that much. There's tons of people that like I'm cool with, expect like in the industry that like when we see each other, it's all love.
Acquaintances as fuck.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, there's like I'm weary about like meeting new people nowadays too. And I'm actually pretty good at like, just like meeting people, saying what's up. Like that's chill. But something that's I've recently dealt with that's fucking weird is like my girlfriend, like girls being like trying to become friends with my girlfriend.
Dude, it's a thing.
To like get me to guest list them on something or to like be closer to me, and that's fucking weird.
Or just looking at your girlfriend and being like, yo, that's Taboo's girlfriend, instead of introducing her as her name.
Yeah.
And like that for my girl, for Ashley, it was a thing, and it's understandable. Like, these women have respect of their own too. They're their own respective person. They're not just our spouse or our partner. Like, they are doing their own things, and they're amazing, powerful people also. They deserve to be having the respect and spread out as, hey, that's such and such, she's with such and such, or that's just such and such. Like, to consistently look at somebody and be like, that's Taboo's girlfriend, is just kind of downplaying them subconsciously a lot of times as who they are as a person, whether people realize it or not.
Oh, I've definitely have gotten like faster at like whenever I'm out and someone says something to me, and I like if I'm out with my girlfriend, I've definitely gotten faster at getting that conversation over with, just because majority of the time they just pretend like she's not there.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it makes her feel weird. It makes me feel weird.
It took me a while to even catch on to that outline, and like, she brought it up a bunch, and then like, as I started seeing it more, and now it's like, as soon as we come up, if she's with me, yo, this is Ashley, this is who this is, blah blah blah, It's just what it is.
Yeah, I'll even have like some artist friends that like will just do the same thing to her. I'm like, bro, you see my girlfriend with me all the time. Like, at least say hey. Like, I don't know. So sometimes, like, whenever like I'm out with her, definitely like I'm a lot more weary, just because, like I said, it just feels, sometimes she feels disrespected, and it's like nothing I can do. It's not on me, but it's like also kind of like I just want to get the conversation over with a lot of times so I can, get back to her.
There's been conversations I've had too where I've just like, hey, be reminding that these people are in a spot where a lot of people want to get to know them.
Yeah. And
when you're in a spot, I'll bring it up as, Subtronics versus Boogie.
Mm-hmm.
Jesse can't walk through a crowd at a festival, at anything, without security, without his team, without something of the sort, without people running up to him shaking and physically shaking and be like, oh my God. And, well, I love it. I respect it. Boogie, on the other hand, can walk through a crowd, and the biggest thing that he has to worry about is somebody running up and trying to just hug him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like people have complete panic attacks because of who they are and who they're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And just got to think about, like, when these people have these many people coming at them, no matter what industry they're doing or what they do for a career, they've developed a safety blanket around them. Whether you like it or not, they may not be in the mindset of even wanting to talk to somebody or meet somebody at that moment, but they've gone through their day and 30, 40 other people have already come up and tried to introduce themselves, said something, said, can I get a picture? Can I do this? And in some instances, in some locations, hundreds of people have in the last half hour, and that takes a toll on a person, to every time turn around and be like, I'm in a great mood. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And just transparently hide our emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't go out and tell your fans every single time when they see you, yeah, man, I'm just beat up. I'm tired from touring, blah. Like, you got to put that smile on, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a real thing.
Yeah, I'm like a pretty, especially at my shows, I'll say hey to everybody that wants to say hey, I'll try to. But there's definitely been times where, like, I've had to excuse myself because I've been overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now, but something don't feel right.
Yeah, and now imagine you're the person who's in the spot that is at top tier. And how do you go enjoy your life day to day outside of these events without feeling overwhelmed potentially too, just because I physically can't go to Target anymore. I can't go to Walmart anymore. And that's a real thing for some of these people that even in the electronic culture that a lot of us forget, and, because of that, I've told my girl straight up, I'm like, you have to keep that in mind when we're at front of house, whether it's a New Year's Eve party and everybody's around and not everybody's turning to talk. Like, these people are in the moment and with the people that they're with day to day in their circle right next to them. And those are the people that they actually feel comfortable with at all moments. And even though they see your and I's girlfriend regularly, it took you and I how many years to get close into the cliques of these people? And it took you and I sometimes hundreds of times to see people to even feel and be in the relationship spot that you and I are in now.
Right.
So, it's some people don't make a relationship on that first meeting and other people will.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's fun though. I like the question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, and I liked it. I'm like, yeah, we'll be able to fucking test this shit right here. Yeah, but it's a great question. I forgot her name. I think she said she's from KC.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to her. Okay, let's get to this last one.
Yo, what's up, TVBOO? My name is George. My artist name is Walla.
Hello, Georgia.
I'm currently based out of Tampa, but I'm actually moving out to Denver later this year. I've been making music for a long time. Haven't really dipped my toes into the world of like playing shows, etc. But that being said, once I get to Denver, I'd really like to do that. So my question is for really both of you guys today. And it's, what is the biggest or most common mistake you see someone in my position or at my level do? And maybe what's a solution or an alternative that you would recommend? But anyways, that's my question. Thanks in advance. Huge fan of the podcast, and I hope both of y'all have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Georgia. Nice thing. First nice thing someone said to me all day.
Yeah.
I'll tell him right now. I think he's already making a mistake.
Moving into Denver?
Yeah. Well, like he's in Tampa. Tampa is one of the dopest scenes in the country.
Yeah.
He probably grew up there. Probably knows a lot of people there already.
It's less competitive.
Yeah, less competitive. Probably already embedded in the scene. Goes to a lot of shows. Probably sees people who work there. He might know them.
Yep.
Waiting to dip your toes into it until you get to Denver, I think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, 100%. This market is flooded. It's aggressive. It's the number one most competitive market in the country when it comes to bass music. There's no questions around it. Developing yourself where you have relationships already, friendships, using that to help bounce the vocals, the word off of you, your set, get people in the room, going to your community shows of all different styles of promoters. Like him and I were saying earlier, just think about going to these shows and not thinking about going to the shows as I'm here to have fun and get party per se. It's more, I'm here to have fun and this is business. I'm here to network. I'm here to meet people. I'm here to let people know about me. And even if I'm not talking about it, like I want to be the guy that the people look for and they're like, he's the guy, and at the end of the day, you're the person that people look up to over time in your community, and they're going to put you on harder there than they are ever in a market that you moved into. And a year later, you develop 10 friends.
Right.
And it's kind of like him and I were saying, it's like, how many friends do we all realistically meet that are in our inner circle by the end of a year? Like, I'm blessed to be doing what I do in Kansas City. I could do what I do for a living as a concert promoter in a Chicago and in LA and in New York and in Denver. I would probably make substantially more money. My shows would probably substantially sell out more when I'm doing the lineups like what we do versus lose money. For me, that's not where I was born. It's not the market that I'm comfortable in. It's not what I know. And I'm working within what I know, what I'm comfortable in. And I think I can move fluidly. I think that I have more comfort, more support. And, from there, I want to grow out of there into other markets. The flip side of this as a producer, there are the closet at home bedroom producers. I got a homie, Great Milk, right now who's blowing up in the deep or aggressive dubstep world. His first play ever under that name was Cyclops Cove, I believe, and was booked onto Cyclops Cove. His second play ever under that name was at the the Sudden Death Summoning Cave event, Caverns event. And, this kid's just an insane bedroom closet producer that doesn't really go out at all, but he's networked so deep internally online through different forms and other outlets that it's kind of like what we're saying, going to your local community shows and being there and being the person around that everybody knows and they like, and you start showing them your music slowly after. And this kid's done that digitally. And nowadays you can do that digitally too, and not just have to be at these shows and do it, but it's all about putting yourself in the right spots in those digital markets, developing the right friends, finding someone like TVBOO that became your digital friend that's willing to help you produce. And then he starts telling all these other people about you and being like, God, this guy's the fucking jam right now, and doing it that way. So there's a couple options to do this as a producer right now. Moving and going into a larger market doesn't have to be the outline.
Yeah. There's definitely pros to it. There's a lot of cons, like pros being like, all right, I'm gonna move to Denver. The odds of me sitting down with other producers that could teach me some shit or that I like to work with, or like actually building like a young squad of producers who are like just all trying to help each other get better. That's a positive, but you could also do that online. Like look at like Lost Dogs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like none of those guys live together, but they were always sending beats.
How many record labels online that have developed communities on their record labels are actually all in the same city?
Yeah. Wakan, like all the artists are spread out. Like the people running it are all in OKC, but like, same with Deadbeats, they're Canadian. So that's all already working against them. But, yeah, but like I'm thinking about it, like I'm like honestly super blessed that like my come up was in like a small market, in Mississippi and then New Orleans, because I was able to like the scene wasn't that big. Like in Denver, you could walk outside and throw a rock and probably hit a DJ. You know what I mean? Everybody's trying to plug in. There's so many DJs here. They have open deck nights. It's like an open mic where you just go and plug in
and they sell. Tickets sell for them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it's like, because there's so many, it's like, all right, here's like not even tickets, just like, here's a free open deck night.
And
there'll be like, there'll be like 100 DJs waiting to plug in.
Yeah.
It's like, we're in New Orleans, it was like, we had 10.
Yeah, we do an open deck night and maybe 8 or 9 show up to do it in Kansas City too.
Right.
We have a good crowd because like the local community shows are selling hard as shit all over the country right now.
Hell yeah.
But you know, it's like you said, only like 10, 12 DJs want to show up to those things.
Yeah.
And out here, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And to your point, 100% agree. Developing yourself in a market that is a smaller market, you have a better opportunity to get on top. And then once you get traction, your traction will start moving at a substantially greater speed. And at that point, maybe looking into moving to a larger market. Once you have all of those digital connections, so you can start doing what he's saying and doing the collabs and all that kind of stuff here. The next part I would also tell you onto this is the amount of people that you and I both know that have moved to Denver and LA. At the point of when they're like 3-4 years into their touring and they're like, we really need to go. We're putting all the gas onto the career now.
Mm-hmm.
How many of those have we all seen move out within a couple years?
Oh, so many.
Or they just like, I fucking hate it there.
Yeah.
You know, and like, that's the other thing you got to think about. Like as a producer, as an artist, as a creator, living where you're happy and you enjoy and everything about it long-term, looking out the window, your view, everything that you have, all of that's important. Having your family around, those things are all important if they're important to your creative process.
Oh yeah, I miss the fuck out of my family, man.
Yeah, so you know,
I love doing this podcast. It was like my main reason moving here.
Yeah,
everybody comes through.
Yeah, that's what you're saying earlier before we fired up. You're like, if I didn't have the podcast, I don't think anybody would come through anyway, though. And it's like, see, you know, it's the pros and cons, but it's, you know, maybe make the moves unless you're just dying to get out in the markets that you're in right now and you want something new now. For the business perspective, maybe do it when it's ramping up and actually giving traction and you have the digital outlines to give you a benefit and you come into the new markets already with a solid base built. Mm-hmm. You know, that foundation coming into the market, it's what's going to get you into the black box and all these other rooms right out the gate when you get here. But you come here and try to get into these kinds of rooms right out the gate.
It's tough.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, like I was happy, like blessed about my experience in New Orleans because I was able to actually get support on shows. You know, a lot of shows here, like, you know, it's shows at Cervantes or like Mission Ballroom. It won't be a lot of locals. It's usually a tour package.
Yeah. And I think correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't know if a lot of production companies like mine with high tech are actually stacking locals on every one of the tour buys that they do.
No,
we do 98 to 99% of tour buys that we do. We have at least 2 locals on. We try to get 3 or 4 on. Mm-hmm. You know, it's rare that we have at least 1 local on it. And that doesn't matter if I'm going to a 4,000 cap room. You know, when we did the Floozy show, with, I believe it was Of the Trees and You and a couple other artists at that outdoor venue in Kansas City years ago, you know, we still had 2 or 3 openers on it that were local, and we just opened the doors at like 5:30, 6 p.m. to let the people come in because the community wants it, and these kids don't have an opportunity always to play on these massive rigs, and it gives them more confidence in what they're doing within their own work at home, which also develops the artistry and the capability that they have as people. And, you know, if I'm not given an opportunity as an artist, or I don't ever see myself to get on a stage, then why would I internally feel that I have what it takes to fucking do this most of the time? Mm-hmm. Not all of us are go-getters, man.
Yeah, that was the thing about New Orleans, being able to get up on stage and be support on like big shows, like, you know, it got me feeling good. I was able to like hone my skills, and I got better at DJing, better at honing a crowd. But even my confidence went up, which would in sense go into the studio where I'm able to make a song where I'm like, oh shit, this is gonna bang that night. you know, but like, you know, you're saying like, you know, in Kansas City, you'll have like 2-3 locals on and stuff like that. And like, like in the smaller markets, I'm not saying Kansas City's a smaller market, but compared to Denver, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
But like, like Nebraska, you'll see locals. Like, in those smaller markets, it's like a lot of locals on the show supporting, which is fucking tight. That's how it was in New Orleans for me. But like in Denver, it's just like, you know, it's Cervantes. It's like tour packages.
Yeah,
like,
we need to get them to open up more for it, because it's like, that's the community wants that shit, dude. We want to see our friends up there. We want to get our friends how they have an opportunity to meet people like you and get them to grow. Like, get rid of this gatekeeping of the industry right now. Let's teach other people how to stage manage. Let's teach other people how to produce. Let's teach other people how to be a production manager. If you want to throw concerts, fucking throw concerts in the city that you're throwing in. Don't be afraid. Figure out the way. Just because some other promoter doesn't want to look at you or fuck with you, it don't matter. Do your thing.
Yeah, fuck them.
You know, it's like, you may not be moving at what we're calling a national standard here, but you're still doing something that is other people enjoy. Whether people think it's healthy, beneficial, or not, it doesn't fucking matter. Do what you want to do, man, and make those moves.
Yeah, I will say one thing this guy is doing that I respect is fucking taking a leap. You know what I mean? Like, I was fucking I was nervous moving out here. I was terrified moving into New Orleans. You know what I'm saying? But you know, you take that leap and you either sink or swim. And luckily I was able to swim.
You gotta figure it out and do it at one point.
Yep. Yeah. What else do you have to lose, man? But like, if you're not moving to Denver and anytime soon, I would definitely try to go get some local shows in Tampa.
Yeah, definitely.
Why not?
Yeah.
Get some experience under your belt. Get that confidence up before you come here, where like a lot of people have experience under their belt.
Well, and Tampa's got great markets around it too that are all 2.5 hour or whatnot drives, right? Like,
and Tampa's honestly one of the more poppin' scenes for dance music. Tampa's fucking...
Yeah, we were looking at doing shows there. It had to be 8-9 years ago. I'm going to say that I can't remember the venue name right, but it was a venue that had one of the rotating stages in it that eventually burnt down.
Damn.
And we were looking at doing the EDM shows there, as Disco Donnie was looking at doing shows there. And our crew was just kind of like, it's Tampa, we're here, we're doing a bunch of other shit. Because my investors do shows in pretty much every state in the country, and and then a couple other countries also are producing events in. So it's like, we just have too much on our plate to try to move into this competitive market, rebrand a venue, and then try to work on the community that we don't know more. So, and
also, not being able to be there all the time too.
Not being able to be there. And I'm still, my goal is to become one of the biggest independent stage managers in the country for electronic music. I love doing bands and other stuff like that, but it's like, I know what my skill set is when it comes to running around a festival stage and developing that. And I think I have the capability to get there, and I'm not going to stop chasing this, until I get there.
I ain't never gonna stop.
Right. And that's to Homeboy's question. Like, that's where your fucking drive gets to be, bro. Like, there's so much competition in any market in the country right now, like in all forms of music. Like, that's just what the drive has to be. Even when we started working on the artist management company, there's so many people that want to be artist managers. And artist management companies pop up by the thousands a year in all genres of music. Like, it's not like it's a not over flooded market already, and for years, one of my goals in career change, I would love to be a YouTube artist manager. There's not a lot of YouTube content creators out there, only a handful of them that I've been able to find out about. And it's a huge market that I'm like, there's tens of thousands of creating YouTube creators right now that have under 100,000 subs. And once they start getting 75 to 125,000 subs, that shit just starts to snowball on their channels. They can create whatever they want, go any direction they want. Their fucking fans don't give a shit. Like, it's taken so much to cancel certain artists in YouTube land that they just keep fucking reappearing in things because their fans are so diehard about it that it's kind of grotesque at points for some of them. But the outline is like, everyone I know is trying to become an artist manager or producer or promoter in the music industry. What about this other fucking field that in all reality is about to be, in the next 5 years, one of the largest forms of entertainment absorption for consumers at home?
Oh, it already is for me.
It already is for me too.
I watch YouTube 90% of the time if I'm watching something.
90, 95, but there's still the friends of mine that they're like, I fucking hate watching YouTube. And I think that majority of my friends, it's, you know, Netflix is dying right now.
It's dead.
All these other ones are dying right now. Once YouTube picks up more, it already has the movie algorithms and buying movies, but once they start picking up more of that, it's just going to only build more. It's,
like original shows.
Yeah, dude.
Like funding them.
I fucking love being in the comment section on YouTube.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah.
It's the most, it's like Twitter unhinged. Like unhinged Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, like people say whatever the fuck they want. It goes left and right.
And they're not arguing as much.
As much.
Twitter, they're arguing.
People let you have your opinion and it can be as trash as it wants to be or as wholesome as it wants to be. And they're just like, all the trash people jump in and they're like, yeah, and all the people that disagree just let you have it there.
Yeah.
And
whereas Twitter, it's like, I disagree.
Yeah, fuck you. You're different than me.
You're a fascist.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and YouTube's a lot goofier. I do enjoy the YouTube comments for this podcast.
Some of these kids on the merch land on YouTube sales alone versus what we're seeing on touring merch for artists. Like, think about people like a Whistling Diesel. Like, how much money does this guy have to make on one fucking merch drop? Like, you're making 6 digits for sure on one merch drop.
Oh, dude, think about this as well. The biggest comedy show in the world right now is Kill Tony.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fucking, they uploaded on YouTube. They sold out Madison Square Garden 2 nights in a row.
My investors just did a couple shows with them. I think it was November.
Yeah. They did the HEB Center in Austin. They're doing the Forum in LA. It's just like, and this is just a YouTube show.
It's fucking nuts.
Because I mean, what other platform would pick something as wild as that up? That's the thing about YouTube. It's like a lot of comedians too are posting their specials now on YouTube because like Netflix will give them notes about like, I don't know how risky this joke is. You know what I mean? I don't know if we're comfortable with that. When they're like, fuck you, I'll release it myself. And it pops off, and that incense goes to ticket sales. Like later on, they'll make the money back with ticket sales.
The amount of things that YouTube's generating right now is just, it's fucking insane, dude. It's absolutely insane. The amount of opportunity that's there, the amount of opportunity for an agent, a manager, a creator, you name it, you know, and it's flooded, but it's not flooded like the music industry is.
Right.
Where every single one of your friends wants to be a DJ, or every one of your friends knows someone who is a DJ or knows someone who's in a band.
I don't know any successful YouTubers.
I know a handful, but that's just because randomly I've been looking for them for years.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm addicted to it, and it's one of those things where it's like, that culture is the new cable.
I watched this guy get kicked out of a backstage festival, and his thing he kept on saying is, I'm big on TikTok. I'm big on TikTok.
It was probably Reckless Ben.
Well, what a nerd.
It was Reckless Ben.
What does Reckless Ben do?
He used to be a slackliner, one of the best in the world, and now he does infiltrating events.
No, it wasn't him.
And a bunch of other wild shit.
This guy was like a chiropractor or some shit.
Okay, yeah. No, not him then.
And he was a total dork. He was a total dork and made an ass of himself, and it was really funny.
Yeah, that's the thing that goes viral.
Yeah.
I love it.
But no one was recording. Everyone was just kind of like, everyone was like really uncomfortable, and I just go, I was the only one that said something. I said, can you shut up? And everyone was like, dude, thank you so much. I walk in my green room. He's just in my trailer making himself a drink. And I was like, hey, man, it's me and Ellis Dream. We're sharing a trailer. And I was like, hey, man, what are you doing? He's like, it's cool, bro. I'm big on TikTok. That was the first thing he said. And I said, I used to have a MySpace. And he's like, pouring my whiskey. And I'm like,
I was big on MySpace back in the day.
Yeah, it's like, bro, what are you doing? And then like, I thought that was just that one experience. I see him later on the night, and he's getting completely just kicked out.
It's okay, bro. My Facebook hit 5,000 friends.
Yeah, dude.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, dude. So YouTube's cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome.
Yeah, man. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me out.
Yeah, absolutely. Great conversation. Yeah, I just want to thank you for all the things you're doing for, like, you know, the Kansas City and like Nebraska communities, man, all the local people, all the people that you put on and hire and, you know, help feed, doing the things they love, man. It's It's very admirable, and I'm very blessed that we have somebody like you out there looking out for everybody and artists as well. You know, I've been working with you for a couple years now, and every time we see each other, it's just gotten better and better.
I appreciate it, man.
Show, you know, you're talking about growing an artist. You know, you've done that successfully with me. I think all we've done is go up.
Hey, man, you may not know, but Sevi and I go back like 20 years, bro.
And that's my agent for everybody as well.
Yeah, him and I go back like 20 years.
Yeah, he
man.
said y'all co-promoted on like a show.
Yeah, I threw an underground rave with him. He used to go by Catman Dog, I believe it was, as a producer, DJ setup.
Wait. Remix. Brian, his DJ name was Catman Dog?
Yeah.
What a fucking pussy.
Yeah, I always thought it was a funny name, but I never told him because
It is hilarious.
I respect him. But also, Cat Dog was a dope cartoon back in the day, so what the fuck ever.
I respect him less now, actually.
He was a gnarly DJ for being the nerdiest kid that you had ever met that was also walking the line of gangster, wanting to be in the DJ culture.
Yeah.
And like the eclectic outline that this kid brought to the table was just always so interesting, and he always had the biggest smile on his face, and like he just got fucking addicted to dubstep, dude. And
wow,
you know, him and Brent Tactic, who's from Kansas City also, Sevi's St. Louis kid, those two straight up are becoming the number one and number two agents in the United States, if not world, for developing dubstep artists, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've been with them for a long time.
It's fucking crazy, and the way that those two have moved and developed is great. And, you know, if you want to get to the point where you're right before getting on with the guys that are going to take you to the massive level and agent management level, and you're in dubstep, you almost have to walk through these two's gates now.
Yeah.
You know, and they're both very open, wholesome, caring people that want to develop people. And that's one of the coolest things about him. Brian's like you and me, where he's like, I want to find the people that nobody know about music. And like to find the agent that's now dealing with people like you that still wants to actively get people their passports, their visas, and everything in line to get them over in the country when 98% of the buyers don't know it, and he just wants to do it because he loves that sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's the fucking vibe, dude.
No, man, they're the tits, man. They've been my only, Brian and Alex been my only agents since I started, and
yeah,
you know, we've had like other big ones knocking on our door. I'm like, dude, I'm with these guys, man.
If you ever get a chance to check Brent out on a DJ set in New York, fucking do it.
Well, I got to know more about this Catman Dog, dude. Fucking hearing Brian playing dubstep is the funniest thing I've ever heard.
When we hop off, I'll give you some stories about Brian. You'll be like, gosh.
I got some too.
He's a legend, dude.
He is,
Straight
dude.
legend.
He's the man, dude. I'm talking a lot of shit, but it's all love, and he knows that.
I mean, he came up hosting concerts in what I would call is one of the roughest cities in the country to host dubstep concerts at, and
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis ain't no fuck around joke, dude. As a promoter, bro, they don't play along together. Like, that market is hard to work in.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in markets and worked all over the country. I run festivals and events in other countries multiple times as well. And that market is one of the ones where you're like, this is tricky, dude. So, you know, props for him for coming up out of there.
Mm-hmm. Well, hell yeah, man. Once again, thank you for being here. Is there anything you want to let the people know before you get out of here?
Yeah, man. You know, we're in a culture where there's a lot of drugs, alcohol, and everything around. There's a lot of temptation. But ultimately, if you want to make it in this industry, you know, do what you got to do. There's times and place for all the fun, and it's okay. But, you know, if you want to make it somewhere, make sure when you're implementing your place and trying to get out there and be seen and known as somebody in the industry, you know, you're in the right mindset. You're going out there and taking care of people, and they know that you're able to take care of others as well. If you're not in that mindset, it ain't going to move forward for you that way all the time. We all know artists and other people that we've seen around in our communities that people talk negatively on because of certain situations and outlines, and you just don't want to be that guy. You know, you don't want to be that girl. Get your shit together.
Am I that guy?
Keep it right. Nah, man, you walk that line fine. But, you know, it's like, we all know those people and we all care about them.
Yeah.
But it's like, if we want to be serious about this and we want electronic music not to just be looked at as like, hey, these are kids that are weird and doing drugs and they're fucked up all the time. Like, you know, it's going to take all of us as a culture to really push and be like, yo, if support our friends on the fight for sobriety that are actively doing it. You know, it's going to be you putting yourself in the place and saying, hey, tonight I want to go out to this event and try to network to find more people for a job, and I don't need to drink or do that line tonight. I don't have to smoke in public. I don't have to do these kinds of things. As, you know, hypocritical as it says coming from the guy that has the smokes mids as a branding, shit's the fucking reality of it, man. And I walked this path for years trying to get there. And I'll tell you, I wasn't this way for years. And as soon as I got to this point, I went from doing 7 shows booked and promoted at once to our company's now done over 25 shows announced, booked, promoted, and on sale at one time, on top of helping manage 3 different national festivals, co-funding from our investors and co-developing a national festival, you know, stage managing over 10 festivals a year, running 5 companies, being a part of 7. You can do it. You know, you just got to fucking put it down, and every day becomes the next day and you learn a little bit more.
Yeah, 2 biggest temptations in this life, drugs and pussy. Say no. Man,
is what it is.
Yeah.
So keep on it, get your grind going, and make yourself what you want to be.
Amen, dude. That's a great message to end it on.
Yeah.
Well, once again, man, thank you again. I love that message at the end. Kyle, thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
thanks, Kyle.
And I appreciate everybody listening to this week's episode of Talks with Taboo. See you next week. Peace. Hell yeah, dude. I got to pee so bad.